Amazing. Rocky, what is for you?
I really don't think they flew 90 billion light years to start a fight.
Some say chill days so long gone, can't bring them back, no magic wand. Counting white cotton clouds, painted on the blue sky's crowd. And yet somehow that way is fake, with eternal hopeful flair. Pineapple pizza, Hawaiian ice freeze, yeah. Can't wait to be up. 3 days of you and me. I'm sailing. I just can't wait for 3 days of you and me.
He's been cited by Forbes, The Wall Street Journal, Benny Johnson, Timcast, Dr. Jordan Peterson, and even the U.S. government.
But soon they'll wake up to see the summer sizzles in me.
We're doomed. Will this never end?
Dire wolves back and so are you.
Oh yeah,
Belvedere flying so the moon.
oh yeah.
And everyone's singing just the right tune. Maestro blasting on the jazz flute.
We are all participating in mandatory fun activities.
Jelly bean bonus, every flavor in the bag. Super movie star, but first gotta join SAG.
Keep our eyes open.
Wunderkind, super friend, where are you? Get a search warrant for the near clear blue.
It's scooping time.
And can't you believe that? We've been waiting on you, can't you see that? Put away the bad things they said to you.
You are a sad, strange little man. Have my
After all, just have to call and say you're some kind of
Because you are the special.
epic. Epic, yeah, that's what you do. I'm talking about epic, it's all you know how to do.
You wake up with
Epic, it's on repeat for you. Oh, epic. Epic.
Hear ye, come on, to the never stopping daily strife, and it's called simpler times, they beckon so, floating on the water with no foam. Can we get away now, find a way now, somehow step out of this stream into a dream of slow it down. Jay says that he remembers a place before the never, ever river severed our tranquility. Counting cars by Highway 30, sitting in the porch swing, guessing colors so poorly. Is the next one a blue or red one? Maybe silver, maybe gray. What a way to spend a day.
Ladies and
and gentlemen, it's the WDW Pro Show!
But for me, it was Tuesday.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back and happy Tuesday. What a day we have. And Jonas, I believe we've stepped into a hive of something. We had so many folks out there kicking us off, saying, "You're wrong, Pro. You don't know what you're talking about. Marvel's going to be just fine. The trailer is lovely. The Odyssey's going to do great. It's going to be groovy. It's going to be grand." Jonas, will you hold my hand as I bat away the tears from my eyes from those who despise what we have to say?
Maybe if it's like a gloved hand and I'm helping you off of a cliff, that's fine with me.
I heard you could buy new feelings at Walmart.
I give you a manly 3-pat, the "I'm not gay" pat, the rhythmic, that one. That's
right.
One. I think walk it off.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have not brought this show to you today. For those who are out there who already know everything there is to know about Hollyweird, we are bringing this to the masses who don't know. So when you see us put up the comments, the boo birds, a few of them, not many, but when we put that up on the screen, just know we are not intimidated by a rush of folks saying, "You don't know anything, Pro." We're excited because that means learning is about to happen. And this, folks, is even better than a Leering Center. All right, let's get into the Super Chats. Now, we've got a whole lot of stuff to get into, including a giant Rotten Tomatoes scandal that is, well, lighting up the internet. If you don't know about it, you're about to, and it's a big one. Juliet for 2, afternoon, WDW Pro panel and Pro Rights. Good afternoon to you too, Juliet. Mark Fields for $4.99. Hail to the panel, to the wonderful chat, and to awesome wrenches. Positive vibes to you all. Thank you, Mark. And Flying Blonde on a rocket cycle for 5. Good day, all. With the amount of money Nolan's The Odyssey is raking in at IMAX, do you think IMAX event movies will become more common? Well, that's a great question for the panel. I would say if there's any takeaway from this, they should do that. Because the Odyssey is barely selling more than the Mandalorian and Grogu in terms of tickets. However, it's making a huge amount of money because those tickets are 50% more in terms of price. Mark, your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, because I don't think that every movie is like, if you made the Mandalorian and Grogu an IMAX event, it still wouldn't have done well.
That's a good point as well. It has to be an event.
Christopher Nolan in IMAX he has trained the audience since The Dark Knight to essentially be like, well, you have to see a Christopher Nolan movie in IMAX.
You don't think that can be replicated easily? Like, let's say Project Hail Mary. Let's say they do, another movie like that. If they make that in IMAX, for IMAX, 70 millimeter IMAX, you don't think that has the same that a Christopher Nolan film does?
The popcorn bucket for this movie was literally an IMAX camera. Like he has so pretentiously tied himself to the IMAX experience that I think that it's a special case.
And yet, Marv, people do not realize, and I think we've broken this down now enough. I don't want to retread it too much, but this film, the cost of the movie tickets is 50% higher. That's lifting the box office, and that's creating these headlines. The question is now, will it hold? Marv, I haven't had a chance to pick your brain on that. What do you think about that? How does this perform second weekend?
You know what? I wouldn't be shocked if there's a big dip. I think the bigger dip is going to come the third weekend when Spider-Man comes out, when we're going to also have, it's going to lose Dolby at that point. It'll lose 4DX at that point. So it'll lose some of the other premium screens. I don't know, honestly. I want to be able to say, like, yeah, it's going to drop. I don't personally think you can make $1 billion at the box office only selling IMAX tickets.
We're going to see. Right now, my prediction, the chat got me to say this last night through the super chats. I think this is going to do about 800 to 850. That's where I think it lands. And the thing about that is it would be profitable, but not by much. But I think that's probably where it lands. It depends on Spider-Man. If Spider-Man's a bad movie, and shocks us that way, we'll have to change that assessment. But right now, that's where I think this is going. Jonas, any other thoughts on that one? I mean, am I optimistic, negative? What do you think about it?
Avengers Doomsday will do pretty well. It won't make enough to make its money back by
not Doomsday. We're talking about an Odyssey. What are you doing down there?
Sorry, I was looking at some of the so 700 million, I think that it needs to make. Actually, 750. Probably 770 million if 700 was the original break even, because Valiant Renegades got a video out this morning talking about how Nolan gets 10% of the box office after the break even. So there's a higher hurdle there that goes up every
interesting.
More, so
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get started. We've got Marvin, of course, at the M4 Empire with us. We've got Carol Brown, works over there at the Rippaverse, also has been doing some writing for that Park Place. And Carol, before we even dive in today to the stuff that we're going to do, and we're going to expose a lot of things that are being misleading around. One thing that's not misleading is folks should be finding you over here at Carol Brown, your own website. Folks, it's carolbrown.com. Carol, look at these beautiful things you've been working on, these things that people should be reading, buying, and enjoying.
She ran away. You embarrassed her.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
You exposed me in front of people. Yes, that is my website that I did update since the last time you discovered it, with everything that you can either pre-order or order today. So you can go there.
Phenomenal.
Caro's Odyssey review is also coming out on that Park Place today.
Oh, good.
Oh, I can't wait. It's going to be a glowing review, I'm sure.
I let you win the word count today.
This is my Carol song. It is 8 seconds long.
I can't tell you how much I love that comment. Yeah. Yeah. I let you win the word count. Sometimes I remember talking to Marvin, and Marvin said, well, I had to write this 6,000 word Mortal Kombat 2 review. Like, did you have to?
Just had to.
But with Mortal Kombat 2, I had to.
Yes,
because
exactly.
Everybody was wrong about Mortal Kombat 2. So
that's right.
Clearly, it's the children that are wrong.
The children are wrong.
Now, ladies and gentlemen,
sarcastically, by the way, people.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank so many of you for saying to yourself in your mind today, get over here. And joining us on the Pro Show, we're about to top over 500 across the two platforms that we're on. That's YouTube and X. Of course, we joke and say the Tickety Talks, the Instagrammies, and everywhere else. But it's really YouTube and X. And folks, we wanted to say thank you for joining us. Moving on up, you're going to be happy that you're here early because we have a heck of a topic. Not enough people are talking about it. It's not made the mainstream yet, but we're covering it right here. We'll get to it. Before we do, got to say a huge thank you to everybody who was a part of Southeast Game Exchange, especially Real Life Fake Wizard, who did a phenomenal job, put out lots of fires. Carol, you were there. It was great to see you. It was great to see Kara. And we got to meet a lot of special friends too, Carol. We had a young man who his dad drove him 6-7 hours to Southeast Game Exchange to come see us. And I want to give a shout out to Patrick if he's out there watching right now. Patrick! Carol, tell us about Southeast Game Exchange and all the fun that we had, please.
Oh, it was wonderful. So we were running the indie game section where people could come and try out indie games and give them feedback, and then they would vote for very different categories. So it would either be for music, overall gameplay, visuals. Like we did a whole gambit of things that people could vote for, including the one that people liked the most. And I wasn't really surprised by the winner because some of them came with top games there. But one of the games that came there, I think, was made by somebody called Pro, I think.
Maybe. Could have been. Yeah. Releasing that in just a couple of weeks now.
I played through the first phase of the adventure mode, and I think I lost 45 minutes yesterday without realizing it. So I think you have something you got to be careful with on your hands.
We're excited about it.
I thought Southeast Game Exchange was kind of the perfect convention experience for us because we all got to hang out, and that was wonderful. And we ate good food, we met the people, and we even got amazing stories to tell. I humiliated myself in the middle of the pro drinker wizard panel, and you know,
it's
Are we telling that story now? Is it okay to tell the story, Marv? Tell about what happened.
So I'm sitting in the back row watching the pro and wizard and critical drinker are doing a panel together. And so I'm sitting there and I'm scrolling Instagram. I hear these guys talk all the time. I'm supporting my friends, but so I see a reel that's kind of the perfect Marv reel. It's essentially like it's a don't feed the geese sign, but the feed the geese, like the hand was going like this. So it says, please don't speak Italian to the geese. And I was like, oh, that's funny. I'm going to share that right now on my Instagram. And so I go to do it and I go to share it to my story and I don't realize there's audio involved. So while the critical drinker is speaking, from the back row, from my phone comes...
Marv, you realize this is copyright music.
Yeah.
We can't hear that, Marv. Thank goodness. We're still live.
Okay.
So from my phone comes, it's raining, man. And so I freaked out, almost threw my phone like a grenade. And
that would have been funnier.
everyone turns and looks at me, and I was just like, "Oh no!" It's like the gayest song of all time. It's like the gay anthem. Like it came out of my phone.
Is this the gayest ringtone ever for Marv?
I was like, it was a reel, and everyone's like, "Sure, Marv. Like that's not your ringtone." And Jonas was laughing so hard. Jonas was like on the floor.
I just about died laughing.
I hope next year it's "Man, I Feel Like a Woman" because I think you need to do this over and over.
Yeah,
please. And by the way, Marv and Caro did a panel together where they talked about writing and developing characters. It was well attended and well received. You both did a great job. And Marv did another panel with Wizard Culture Crossfire. Yeah, and that was great. So, folks, without hesitation, let's get into it. We got 2 more super chats, and then let's start off with the scandal. Go ahead, Caro.
Wait, we got to
what do you get there?
Wizard tea. So basically,
ooh, look at the brew.
So Fake Wizard was able to pay for that whole thing for the indie game folks because they basically sell this matcha tea. So if you guys are interested, please support the possibility of us doing this again next year and buy some matcha.
There you go. Gotcha. Matcha hands. Kaylee out for 5. Pro Shake It Off. The leering is real. Rotten ticket sales. Reservations yanked at the last minute to encourage sales. Death roll in Hollywood is real. We're going to talk about it. Hang tight. Burnouts. $1.99. Barbenheimer situation with Odyssey and Spider-Man. Yes or no? Answer no. The reason is because Barbenheimer worked because it was aiming for 2 different demographics. Women went to go see Barbie. Men went to go see Oppenheimer. In this case, this is appealing to the same demographic. So I don't think that you're going to see the split that way. They can both survive in the theater, but they can't both work in that sort of synergy that we saw.
Not to mention, you're talking about 5 hours of movies. At a certain point, it's like, okay, this is fun, but yeah, I need to get up and do something else.
Kayla for 5. Keep an eye out for a game titled Engine Fall. Definitely want to put on your wish list. It's shaking out in closed alpha. Train raid base building. All right, sounds fun to me. I'm excited. And Doge Pal for 2. Pixar plus ESPN are hit with layoffs. Ryan Clark is out. Folks will be checking it out. But yeah, more layoffs on the way from Disney. Josh tomorrow seems to be best at giving out the pink slips. Who knew? All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's dive into the scandal that is rocking the internet right now and might be rocking Hollywood real soon. Will the mainstream media pick up on it? Well, we're here to do our part to nudge it in that direction. Let's just say Rotten Tomatoes has some splaining to do. The Rotten Tomatoes score, the audience score for the Odyssey, might not be real. And by that I mean it may be jacked. Hijacked, they say, and it could have been just discovered in the code. Does this mean that all movies now are being used to trick audiences? Well, let's talk about it and explain. Mr. Obvious at Obvious Rises out of X posted a user hacked Rotten Tomatoes on the Asmongold subreddit and found the real review score for Christopher Nolan's film The Odyssey and discovered that out of 886 active users, only 498 rated it positively, leaving the true score at 56%. A score of 97% is mathematically impossible, and this is looking more and more like widespread fraud by the Hollywood industry on a massive scale. Now note that we here on the Pro Channel are not reporting this as absolute truth. We're beginning to discuss this as it looks more and more likely, although not completely proven. It says, interestingly enough, 56.2%, which would be the audience score that's in the code on Rotten Tomatoes hidden from public view, apparently is not far from the Metacritic data, which has normal reviewers and has rated the film at 51%. Needless to say, despite the reported numbers, revenue, it's looking like smoke and mirrors. The film is being propped up to look like a success, but in reality is a cataclysmic financial failure, may not break even, which we've been saying $750 million is how much it has to make. All right, let's go now to the original post that has this. This is out of Reddit, and let's see, Geralt of Gunia is putting this on X, and it talks about the push versus pull. This is so complicated, but I'm going to try to walk us through this. It says, before 2019, and you all remember this was the response to Captain Marvel that they did, because they didn't like how you all voted for Captain Marvel, so they had to change it. Before 2019, Rotten Tomatoes used a pull mechanic. An unverified user had to actively decide to leave a review, log in or create an account, navigate to the movie page, and submit their ranking. After 2019, They shifted primary code and score to a push notification via ticket processors like Fandango. In other words, purposefully trying to get reviews from those who have already signed up via Rotten Tomatoes and Fandango to go see the film. Now, it goes on to talk about how in the code, apparently, the code, and it goes into great detail. It talks about going to viewing the page source code. It talks about looking for media-scorecard-JSON files. And it talks about, if you go down here, they say hidden in the code is the real score. It's 56.2%, but the website does not display that review score. So what does Rotten Tomatoes say? Folks, if we go to Rotten Tomatoes right now, 95% on the critic score, 97% on the audience score, 10,000 plus verified ratings, 97%. But we actually joined in to this adventure, and we looked up the code. And although I am not a programmer, and I cannot say with veracity that these reports are correct, I can tell you that looking at the code, it matches up with what these people are saying. And if what they are discerning from this is true, then Rotten Tomatoes may be obscuring a 56% score for this movie, and it begins to beg the question, are they hiding the other scores as well? Marv, I'll go to you first. We support Criticless. I think Criticless is a great place. Metacritic is a great place. Yep. But Marv, if Rotten Tomatoes has set up a system, and I'm not saying it's illegal, it's not. I'm not saying it's illegitimate, but if they've manufactured a system that pulls off some really great scores for really important financial movies, this is a heck of a scandal.
Well, you think about it, Rotten Tomatoes was originally designed as a review aggregation platform to show you what people thought about movies online. Then it got bought by Fandango. And Fandango is a company that sells movie tickets. So now it has become a marketing vehicle for to sell these films. And we've seen it repeatedly, when we've seen them repeatedly try to finagle the scores and whatnot. This doesn't surprise me in any way, shape, or form. If you look at Criticless right now, which I always think is a great barometer of where people are, it's at a 49% on Criticless, which is a bogus score. That's actually what I rated it on Criticless. So it's to me, this definitely feels like it is. I'm sorry, it's a decent score right now. But yeah, this is definitely something worth looking into more, because if Rotten Tomatoes has become a arm of one, a company that's designed to sell movie tickets, and two, the Hollywood studios that are looking to protect their films, well, then it's suddenly not for the people anymore. It's a propaganda machine.
I think you're exactly right. And part of the system that's being claimed is that Rotten Tomatoes now, they're achieving this by sending a notification to the phones of people who purchase these movies through Fandango, especially if they purchased their tickets early, like way early for Fandango, that they're waiting that, and they're sending this out to people to give their review score, knowing that those people are more inclined to give it a positive review. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but Lauren, when we see that Criticless has a 49%, we see Metacritic is right around that same place, and it turns out that if you look at the code for Rotten Tomatoes, it's around 56%. I think this is fascinating, Lauren, because it strikes me maybe the whole internet is responding to kind of a giant psyop here. This idea that audiences love it may be a complete fabrication, and really this is a film that's got about half the folks liking it, maybe, and everybody's responding because they don't know what to do because they're believing Rotten Tomatoes, and hidden in the code is you shouldn't do that.
It's interesting because as you guys were discussing this, I was going into the background trying to research how they were analyzing the data and seeing what AI was saying about this reported hack. Now, I tend not to take these reports at face value, and my background is in IT, so I wanted to see what are the numbers that they're actually comparing here. I haven't had time to review it all entirely. AI is claiming that this is a false report due to the way that Rotten Tomatoes calculates scores, and is claiming that this isn't actually a review score that they are ranking here that is giving the 56%. They're saying the number that they're focusing on is representing the number of people who searched to submit a score. But my response to that is, why would you track that as a statistic for who searched? Especially if they're, you're right. I don't think it does, but I haven't had enough time to read what it's saying and analyze what the initial report was to be able to form an opinion yet. So I'll just say, I don't think that the current score on Rotten Tomatoes should be believed at all, but I'd also be careful about believing initial reports. Always, when this kind of thing is released, do your own research to determine how they're making the determination of what the scores should be.
Right. And we're not at the point where we can do this for 100% veracity. But Lauren, I did look into the claim that you're talking about this morning in researching a bit of this. And what it seems to be is that people are trying to go leave a review score. They get all the way through the process, and then they're being blocked because they're not verified as having seen the film via Fandango, and then their score doesn't count.
Yep.
That's what I think is happening here. And then AI is reporting on it because AI is getting both sides of this from, the corporate answer as well as the critic answer.
Yep, and that was basically what it looked like to me too, although I hadn't finished reading. My question still becomes, all right, why are you tracking the unverified users as a statistic if you don't use unverified ticket purchasers in your score? Why would you track that?
Carol, if this is the case, if they've been not manipulating, but they've created a system that gives them the best outcome for some of these movies, and it's wildly different than what we're seeing on the other websites. And if this is driving the commentary online, are you surprised that we made it this long? Like, this has been in place since 2019. Are you surprised it took this long for somebody to get into the code and go deep and be like, oh my gosh, the real score is in here and it's secret. They're not displaying the real score. Wait a minute, what's going on here?
Well, I mean, we've had that commentary for like a long time, but you don't even have to see the code to know that something's off. Because I was doing my own research, like Lauren was saying, but I did it in the form of looking at another movie. And for some reason, Woman King is rated at 99%.
That's a great film, I'm sure.
Well, that score has been colonized, obviously.
Yeah. So I was like, because it's kind of like, when I go to a Mexican restaurant, I usually like to, get a cheese enchilada to rate how the Mexican food is. And so if I want to take a look at how some of these movie places are rating movies, I go see how Woman King is doing.
So,
fantastic.
Jonas, there is a lot of effort being put into saving this film. We've been talking about how the ticket sales, the actual butts and seats, slightly more than Mando and Grogu, shocking embarrassment for Disney. But the price of the tickets is 50% higher. Nobody in the mainstream is talking about that. So it's being presented as this massive win. And financially it is, but culturally maybe not. Now we're finding out that the review scores from audiences that are, a lot of the commentary class, they move with the wind. And so if they feel like, oh boy, this is really popular with audiences, they'll change their opinion because they want to be on the right side of the majority.
They do want to be on the right side of history on this one. And the word I'm going to use here is normalization. They really want for this movie to be normalized and the things that are in it to be normalized, to have the page boy and Lupita Nyong'o as Helen of Troy and a diverse cast. To all of that to be, well, you're not normal if you don't say all of these things are fine. In fact, you're not normal if you don't notice. So I really think there's a bit of an op going on here. I see it. I'm my Twitter bio says I'm a culture noticer, and how dare we all notice things like that? Of course.
I mean, look, I think there's a reason why this movie is being as protected as as it is, more so than almost any movie we've ever seen, more so than most Disney films, even, because no woke virtue signaling movie has broken the $1 billion other than maybe like Barbie, right? If this can break the $1 billion with the race swaps and the Elliot Page and all of that, then all of a sudden it becomes the success story that proves that go woke, go broke is a dead concept, and that's not the truth. And the media is already running with that. The Hollywood media was ready to go hit the ground running Monday morning with the we won the culture war. We win, ladies and gentlemen. It's all over, and we won. We were right. We were always right. Look. And that's why this is happening. That's why this has to be protected. That's why this must be perceived as success at all time. In every conceivable way.
Marv, do you believe that these folks who are praising the film to the nth degree, because you didn't score it well, I gave it a 6.5. I think it's just meh. Do you believe that people are giving this rave reviews because it fits some sort of narrative, and dare I say, because there's an effort behind it to try to get it to that billion mark, whatever the cost might be?
I think it's possible. I think there are some people though that are just fans of Christopher Nolan, and they think that everything he does is wonderful, no matter what. I mean, there are people that like The Dark Knight Rises. And it's a terrible film.
What? But lots of that movie is good. It's just it falls apart a bit in the third act when they stole the "I can't get rid of a bomb" from the atom.
The most important part, you mean?
I can't get rid of a bomb.
Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb. If he had said that while flying that bat over that water, I all would have been forgiven.
Well, they're trying to get rid of a bomb right now. Maybe not. I mean, this movie is not going to flop necessarily, but as Marv said, the effort is on to get it over the $1 billion mark, and they're willing to do whatever it takes. Folks, you tell us in the comments in the chat, do you think that Rotten Tomatoes has been caught finally, definitively? You go look at the source code. You go follow instructions on how to do it. You can verify it for us if you're an expert out there. Lauren is working on it as we speak. He's digging deep into figuring out, is this true, is it false? But one thing's for sure, folks, Rotten Tomatoes is way out there versus all the other aggregators of review scores. And it turns out some folks are saying you can find out what the real score is right there in the code.
Your transitions are so good. I love your transitions.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Carol. Folks, I'll tell you this as we get ready to go into these stories. That was a heck of a way to start the show, I would say. I don't think folks are covering that yet the way they need to, and so we're going to shine a light on that. Lauren, any updates? You got any more on the code?
No, I stopped digging into it once we got into the discussion portion of it. It's something that I'll look into a little bit later, but I tend to agree basically with what we've been saying is that
okay.
I think that there's something awful fishy about this, but I'm not prepared to say definitively that this is rigging yet.
When you say it's fishy, you mean that logging review score attempts is a really strange thing.
Yeah, and the numbers that they're putting up there versus everybody else's average, it's obvious that they're at least weighting what they want the audience to see.
So then the next thing we need to do is figure out, did other films have these giant review score attempts being blocked?
Well, the hard part here is trying to decide, what do you call rigging? Because Rotten Tomatoes is open about the fact that they only allow verified audience score reviews as they define verified audience scores. So they're not giving you a true average. It's never been a true average. It's a weighted average as to whether it crosses the threshold of what they consider positive from those people that they allow to submit. If they're upfront about that, is that rigging? Or is it just, we have a score that means what we want it to mean, and we're hoping that you won't notice that it's not a weighted average?
Gotcha. All right, we've got a sad super chat on the screen, and Albert, not a retro. I appreciate you putting it up here because we need to know this, but it is sad. Jonas, could you read it, please?
Sure. Sorry to bear bad news, but Keeley Hotel, the little girl from Godzilla vs. Kong, was in a car accident, and she did not make it. She was only 18. F's in the chat for the young actress, please.
Oh.
I was just reading about this. We're always apprehensive to put a story out on the website when someone passes, even when it's someone we, even when it's a legend, right? Because we don't want to look like we are trying to profit off of tragedy. But this one, I just have to say, that's so young. That's barely beginning to live.
Really tragic.
Yeah.
Very sad. Thoughts and prayers with the family and all the loved ones in that circle who are grieving today.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Where were we in these? For $5 Canadian, I recently reviewed Captain Marvel, gave it a 6 out of 10, have it up on the post section of my channel. All right, Albert.
Sounds good. We'll be checking it out.
You should also post it to Criticless.
Absolutely.
And if it's a video, well, you can also put that on Criticless. KB Hugs for $5. What a corrupt voting system. I thought stuff like this was safe and secure. It must be Russia. I'll lay money it's not Greece. Man, nothing makes me more suspicious when at the start of the investigation they say we have the most secure election system that has ever existed in the history of election systems. How dare you, sir?
Maybe what we need to say is that Rotten Tomatoes and Olive Garden have more security than some places you might go do certain things, aka voting. Why? Well, you got to have your photo ID to get your pasta, and it turns out on Rotten Tomatoes you got to prove a few things about you before you get to even review one of these movies. And if you don't like it, maybe you don't show up anyway.
In the words of the Colonel from Sonic the Hedgehog,
KFC. That Colonel.
Oh no, not that Colonel. No, not the one who shot and killed a man over a billboard dispute. No, I was going to say, have you had their never-ending pasta bowl? It never ends.
I forgot that reference in the cartoon.
Cheryl Lynn for $5. The machine is working to create a FOMO event in the public mindset. Yes. Then people say good things because they don't want to be othered. Man,
I'll be othered. That's fine.
I mean, seriously, if normal is the option, I'll pass on that.
And also remember, a lot of these IMAX showings sold out a year ago.
Right. So they've got two paths here, Marv. Path number one is if they can get it to 800 million, $1 billion, whatever, claim victory. Path number two, if that can't happen, forget about it, leave the positive headlines and start switching over to Spider-Man as fast as they can so that you'll remember that the Odyssey was a win, even if it was not.
Right. Yep. No, that I think if this does start tanking, they're just going to stop talking about it.
I'm really looking forward to next weekend, seeing where this thing is, because I don't think it's going to hit 750. I've had other people disagree and say it's going to hit $1 billion. I don't know.
800 is where I think 800.
Yeah. Dane Ren Gray for $2. Never forget Captain Marvel and Rotten Tomatoes. Heart Caro song.
We all heart the Caro song.
Yeah, it's only 8 seconds long.
I needed 12.
Garen Knight Shadow, member for one. RT has been corrupt since The Last Jedi, at minimum. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, they hated what you all did with the Last Jedi. They didn't like Ghostbusters 2016. That annoyed them. But Last Jedi, that was a problem for the industry, and they started making changes. And when Captain Marvel happened, they said not anymore. And it turns out they may have forgotten to remove some of the stuff out of the code. And darn it took us a while to get there. But we're going to start investigating this. We're going to find out. Do we see some of the same stuff in the code going back to older movies?
Let's see here. Albertus Magnus for $5. Logically, the way to make money in movies is to make movies people are willing to pay money to see. Hollywood eschews this in favor of political theater. It seems like for the first, 90 years of Hollywood, they didn't have a problem making things that got people into the theaters.
Right.
There's a specific element that makes everybody go, I don't want to show up for that. I don't want to pay for it. So, and then for 5 more, Jonas is 100% correct. Well, thank you very much. On target. Hollywood is faking everything for politics, and make no mistake, Hollywood is on the wrong side of history. Well, we've lived through 8 or 7 predictions of climate disaster at this point. I forget which one we're on. I'll ask Mark Ruffalo to verify for me.
I'd say it's worse than being on the wrong side of history. You're on the wrong side of the market.
Yeah. Hey, look who it is. Dude Man Cuz.
Hey.
20 WDW Pro memberships. I got to meet this guy at Southeast Game Exchange.
And what a great guy, Jonas. What a great guy, this Dude Man Cuz.
Yes. And thank you so much for the 20 gifted memberships, man. You didn't have to do that.
Yeah, very kind, very generous. And the radioactive hamsters are eating well today because of you. Folks, if you...
Dude Man Cuz.
Dude. Folks, if you received a gifted membership from Dude Man Cuz, make sure to say thank you, muchas gracias, for going gray to green.
Mm-hmm. Shilly JD, member for 7 months. I love that name. I placed a Polymarket bet that it would have paid with a Rotten Tomatoes score of less than 90%. Figures don't lie, but liars figure.
I had not thought of this at all. Boys and girls, if that's in the code. Oh, Lauren, do you see what I'm saying right now? Or you are my...
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Who owns Polymarket right now? Is it Versant? Because I think Versant owns Rotten Tomatoes.
If Rotten Tomatoes is altering the score in any way and it is revealed in the code, I'm not saying that's happening, but wouldn't Polymarket love to know that? And these people who are betting big bucks in Polymarket on the Rotten Tomato score...
They would love to know it.
Whoa.
They would be polyamorous. Rowan, 5. Hey, folks, been a bit. Hope y'all are doing well. Not sure if y'all covered it. I'm behind on episodes, but y'all see the I Play Rocky trailer.
So good.
I loved it. I loved it. Go ahead.
I've got some mixed feelings about this now because I love the trailer. It absolutely, I thought was a banger of a trailer. I knew this was coming, and the trailer was better than I expected. But then I heard that Stallone's had no involvement in it, and that kind of changes my perception a little bit. I'm not sure how I feel about it now.
I think he didn't have involvement at the start, but I think by the end of it, he did give some kind of endorsement. So
that would be interesting to know.
I need to check on that. So we probably need an article on that Park Place title. Did Stallone sign off on I Play Rocky?
We've got some contacts over in that direction. Maybe we can lean on them and get some answers.
That's very true. We know some people who know some people. Hey. Detailed Devil for 5. I'll buy $850 million Odyssey worldwide, but how you got there, sketch. AMC Tennessee screenshot debunked. M&G hit number 2 IMAX share for any $100 million US Open, then add 3D. So bad comparison. Hey, I to disagree.
Well, let's figure out how we get to 850. So Detailed Devil seems like we're on the same page. I'm not sure about the debunked. I think you're talking about the screenshot we did last week, maybe, where we're looking at one of the IMAXs that was 70 millimeter. We'll take a look at that and see what we think about it. But if you're arriving at the same place as me, that you think it's going to 850 and I think it's going to about 800 or 850, I think we're in simpatico right now. So I think why find a reason to fuss if we're landing in the same destination?
Timu Dr. Demento for 5. The rotten in Rotten Tomatoes never meant more than right now.
Never has it ever.
It's such a negative name. It's almost like everybody hates movies anymore. Radial Drago for £5. I believe we are in a critical moment in entertainment with Golem and Uprising seemingly with no DEI. They really need this to continue with it. Golem.
Yeah. So the Hunt for Gollum, Andy Serkis is coming under fire because there is no diverse casting in the Hunt for Gollum. He actually cast it the way a Tolkien thing is supposed to be cast. And he basically dismissed it outright, which I'm like, how is it the same guy that just made the communist propaganda that was Animal Farm?
So I would say you're about to see a huge amount of pressure and potential condemnation from the media if Andy refuses to acquiesce to what they want. What they want is, you're going to do an Odyssey now because the Odyssey works. The Odyssey proves it. So how dare you? You get the DEI into Middle Earth, and I think you're going to see the pressure.
When Don Lemon was in Rings of Power, it was just a little jarring for me. That's all.
Lemon. It's pronounced Lemon.
Exactly. Detailed Double for $2. Motor City Sunday, 10 out of 10. Odyssey Dolby peeps on phone. Wait, people were on their phones during the Odyssey?
I was.
That's quite the irony to be at the biggest screen looking at the littlest screen.
It is so boring.
Yeah, I had to check my phone a few times because it was just ridiculously boring, and I was the only, we were the only ones in the theater.
I literally turned on Hades to play it to stay awake at one point on my handheld. I was just like, I can't deal with it.
Wait. Did you say you had a game console open while you had the movie on?
Yeah.
I think that's allowed.
Oh, that's fantastic.
I had a feeling when I went to go and see it that I was probably not going to have a good time, but I didn't want to leave the theater, so I had my Switch with me.
Yep.
So I'm happy.
I'll say that I did not struggle to stay awake during the Odyssey, but Moana, I almost was out. I was doing the church nod.
With Moana, it was for me, I was just like aghast because I was like, I can't believe they're changing nothing.
I'd already seen the movie. This was a worse version of it. It was just,
yeah.
Did they change
the
my
Odyssey,
favorite
it was
part of
just-
the movie where the old lady puts on the older lady voice and says, "Moana, you've come so far."
Moana.
I saw
who you are.
I saw the Odyssey with Wizard's brother, who's also on his channel. I don't know if he actually says his name on his channel, so I'm not saying it. But we saw it together, and at one point he leans over to me and he goes, "Marv, there's an hour and a half of this left to go." And I said, "What?" And I said, "The Cyclops feels like it was 8 years ago."
Oh my goodness!
And Lauren was shocked by the Cyclops thing too. Lauren, tell Marv what you were asking me about the Cyclops.
Well, a big part of the story of the Odyssey is Odysseus's hubris. That's part of how he ends up cursed to not return to Ithaca for so long. And a big part of that is because of his pride. And so one of the ways that they get away from the Cyclops is that when they're poking him in the eye with a stick, he's asking who has done this to him, and he says, or who is here, and he says nobody. And so when the Cyclops calls for help, the other
they're like, "Who hurt you, brother?" And he's like, "Nobody hurt me." It's like, well, what do you want us to do?
Oh,
right.
Yeah, Nolan was never putting that in there ever.
Well,
But
that's the
it's
thing.
so
Is that
weird.
when Pro told me, that completely shocked me. That's a really important part of the story. And so I put up a tweet yesterday, which is that some of the most maddening things about what I'm hearing about this movie are that what the story is supposed to tell is some of the dangers of hubris, the fact that faithfulness is eventually rewarded, and that there are limits to hospitality unless you want to be eaten out of house and home. And the political message that Nolan seems to be going with is that he's saying this movie is supposed to demonstrate that hospitality is paramount and that we should be kinder to strangers. It's like, you're missing all of the things this is not a story of PTSD about winning a battle in a war. It's a story of Odysseus's own hubris, which caused him to keep stumbling and returning home until he has some humility, and then coming back and kicking out the invaders who are eating out your substance because you're overly generous.
Well, no, because it's even more than that. I'll let Marv go because he's excited.
Yeah, no, like the thing when he said the thing, because it was definitely an immigration thing that he's trying to push with this movie. That like, oh, it's about opening your home to strangers and letting strangers in and something. I'm like, in what way is this movie about that? Because if anything, this movie is a warning against that. They open their home to these strangers who take over, consume all of their food, abuse his son, go after his wife. I mean, come on, like have a little bit of self-awareness.
Well, it's even more than that, because basically they removed all the divine influence in here. Like even Athena turns out to be a PTSD hallucination in the end. Right. And all the things that the gods did that influenced the story. Because if you read Homer's Odyssey, the gods are there. It literally opens up with Athena being like, "Dad, like my friend, I need my human to go home. Tell Uncle Poseidon to stop it." Right. Like it basically takes all of that away and puts the main theme of the story to be the responsibility and choices made by humans, right? And it's really big on the responsibility part. But then like Odysseus gets home and the first thing he does is he ditches his kingdom. He just gets on a boat
and his son
leaves.
He gets home and then leaves again.
It was a really crappy kingdom.
I just want to point out that
Hey,
Lauren is
great to meet you,
literally
son. Bye.
complaining over nobody.
Nobody.
No, so Nolan actually said he said that the nobody thing doesn't translate, and I'm like, it's translated multiple times.
Copy paste.
It's translated multiple times in multiple adaptations of this story in English.
Yeah,
Wishbone did it. Wishbone is a dog.
Well, nobody, of course, being the English version, there's a word in Greek that sounds like nobody. Obvious, whatever. DL Racer for $2. The great credibility comeuppance is here. It is upon us, brother.
We'll be following it.
Yep. Woofle McGruffle the third for $5. Been struggling to think of a super chat all morning. My struggles are clearly the fault of misogyny, bigotry, global warming, and all air conditioning. Yep, it's the HVAC. That's the problem.
Definitely ruining your mind.
It's also cow farts.
Don't forget gas stoves.
It's a little bit of the gout as well. KB.
No, Lord's getting in. I'm letting him in. Go, Lord.
Moment passed. Go on.
Oh, no.
Do you want to be reading super chats forever, Pro?
Yes.
KB Hugs for $5. Hecklefish rules. No Clinton jokes. Fear the crab cat. You have been warned, humans. What's hecklefish?
I fear the crab cat. I don't know what it is, but I'm terrified of that idea. Don't give a cat pinchers.
Is
Pincers?
that like a babblefish?
You.
I don't know. Let's see here. Boot Demon got 650 million on Odyssey after Rotten Tomatoes.
Well, here's why I'm not going to go that low. Because I think after the Tuesday, it's going to cross $300 million worldwide. And I think it can double that without a problem. So if it doubles that, then you got to say, okay, how much farther does it go? I think around 800 is my guess. Mm-hmm. Could be wrong.
Albert, not a retro for 10 Canadian. Oh, by the way, the Canadian Air Force saved some kids caught in the wildfires, and in return, Trump is threatening us with tariffs. Orange satin strikes again.
Albert, I thought you were part of the 51st state. What are you doing out there? What's happening?
No, they're called the Top Hat.
Oh, yeah, top hat. I'm just messing with you, Albert. I promise. Just messing with you.
Yep. Packing protons for 5. Too bad the feds can't audit Disney and find out where all this money is actually going. Oh, I know where it's going. Bob Iger got $100 million for making sure the Fox deal happened, whether or not it was good for the company. So there's some of it.
Well, don't forget, California is also paying Disney huge amounts of money because all that tax fund that was supposed to go towards saving entertainment, they gave it to Disney. They gave them a lot of money to make Hexed, which was already being made, so it was not going to go away one way or the other. I mean, it was already in the can. They're going to make the thing. And Hollywood, California was like, you know what? Our buddies over at Disney carrying our political message, they need some money. Here's tens of millions of dollars. Enjoy this.
What a waste. Rod Thunderheart.
Thunder.
For 100 Canadian dollars. Hail WDW Pro and chat. Thank you for giving us true reporting, sir. Keep it up. Plug for See-Through Love at Friesen Press. A Spanish teacher who can become invisible when angry, but it happens uncontrollably, is shocked to discover the new gym teacher can see her. Of one of, I'm assuming. So you let me know, Rod, on the rest of it there. But thank you.
The other didn't come in. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought the next one was the one I see, but it's Packing Protons. Apologies on that. Rod, we'll get the next one in just a second.
Yep. Packing Protons for $5. Canada is sending us its Poison Fire Air. That's why. Yeah, why, Canada?
Cole Hauser.
Yeah, he's busy playing Modern Warfare. Actually,
yeah,
probably.
He invited me to play Modern Warfare with him. I might need to. I'd love to maybe play Halo with him sometime.
Whether it's Canada or California, isn't it interesting that the countries and the places that are so determined that we're going to have clean air and the climate's going to kill us and the seas are going to rise, they're the ones that are filling the air such that the skies change color and the clouds and turn into some sort of Oblivion style terror? Like, why does this not happen in the places that just say, keep it clean, folks? Why does it not happen there? I don't know. Anyway. Who knew?
My policy. All right. Well,
can't turn on your air conditioner, but by golly, we can burn down an area the size of the city of Paris.
Maybe we need to just go ahead and celebrate Rod Thunderheart because he's. I don't know where part 2 is. It might have been not a super chat. So
you're right. We should celebrate.
It's time for my summer sizzle, cool as a cherry popsicle.
I am being informed that is no way to celebrate. That is actually nauseating, and I agree. So instead,
dude,
how about we say, Rod Thunderheart, good Lord, you are amazing.
Kagemusha?
Oh, dame yo.
Hey! Good Lord! Name of all that's sacred?
Thank you, Rod. Appreciate you truly. Folks, it's time. We'll get that other Thunderheart message when it comes in. But let's talk about the trap that continues on, the fight for the Odyssey. It turns out some on the right want to claim that it's a Trojan horse. Have you all heard of this? Jonas, have you heard about this? The right now, some of the influencers?
Yeah, I've heard reading into the symbolism of it or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go there. Some on the quote-unquote online right are declaring that the Odyssey is a Trojan horse, that Christopher Nolan is actually a conservative, sneaking in conservative values and tricking the woke ninnies of Hollywood. Well, I'm here to tell you, folks, I don't buy that for a second. And the woke, they are celebrating. Now, remember, here on the Pro Channel, we're not political. And I say that we need conservatives and classical liberals because they both do good things in society when they battle each other. And, you know, conservatives protect traditions. Classical liberals want to see changes. They hash it out. We get some changes, not all the changes. Traditions are saved, not all go away. But the woke, that's a different thing entirely. The woke believe in no truth with a capital T. They believe in power and all that sort of thing. Oppressor versus oppressed, etc., etc. Well, they're celebrating. Slate is one of these. Sam Adams, not that Sam Adams, different Sam Adams, says Christopher Nolan's Odyssey supposedly went woke. It did not go broke. The online right bet against the box office success of our era's most successful filmmaker. It did not go well. Now, I'm going to come back to this article in just a minute, but I want to show you that some of the folks out there that we greatly respect. I respect Jonathan Pajot. I think he does a great job. But in this case, I'm going to have to disagree with him. Some of the folks out there who are commentators who speak, I think, to the mainstream middle, they're viewing the Odyssey in a way that I think might not be, well, the case. Here we go. First thoughts on the Odyssey, says Jonathan Pajot. There is a scene at the very beginning of the film in which, in the absence of his father, Telemachus is being trained by the blind Emmaus, Odysseus' loyal servant. Emmaus warns that the reason Telemachus is constantly being bested by his sparring partner is that his defense is too quick. He must move more slowly, open his chest, invite the attack, and use his opponent's momentum against him. In the spirit of Odysseus, deep trickery is at work in this film. It says, don't let the apparent compromises fool you. The Odyssey is an absolute triumph. It is made with a profound love for the source material, filled with deep pathos, the return of the Father, the elevation of the Son, and the restoration of proper order despite all the sins perpetrated by the guardians of that order. It is a film about the end of the world and the beginning of another, about remembrance, return, and the perpetuation of an order after long wandering through chaos. It is the Odyssey. And then, this is where he goes into, Jonathan Pajot says, short version, the movie is a Trojan horse. Now, what is he talking about? Pajot is joining people like Michael Knowles in suggesting that Christopher Nolan actually tricked the wokies. The comedian, Lauren found this one for me, says, so Michael Knowles and Jonathan Pajot believe that Christopher Nolan embodied Odysseus. He played the fool while deceiving the film industry, critics, the cast, the studios, the press, and the public in a grand strategy to restore tradition and win Oscars through the Trojan horse of postmodern deconstructionism and DEI. It says this is a bold claim, and I need strong evidence.
Yeah, no.
Of course, Marvin, you're writing about this over on Geeks and Gamers. Hollywood media declares go woke, go broke dead after the Odyssey opens big. So counter to what some of these influencers and commentators are saying, the woke are celebrating this. And not only that, they had articles ready to go in the trades and everywhere else. You talk about the three publications, Vanity Fair, Slate, them. They're ready to roll out this story. Marv, what is the story and how perhaps are conservative and centrist commentators walking into this trap?
Well, one movie by a director with an excellent track record had one good weekend, and they were all ready to run with this concept of go woke, go broke is officially dead. It's never been true. But meanwhile, when you actually had the woke movies come out, like for some reason they think that this one victory, if this does end up becoming a victory, is able to undo like a dozen failures, because most of the, like, you know, we've had the Marvels, we've had the Eternals, we've had Captain America Brave New World, we've had all of these various different quote unquote woke movies that have come out that have all failed, that have all kind of crashed against the shores of audience indifference. And they were all explained away by Hollywood with its franchise fatigue, it's the theatrical experience, it's toxic fandom, it's review bombing, etc., etc. But now one movie by one director with a great track record has one good weekend, and suddenly it's victory. We won. The culture war is over. Go woke, go broke is completely not real, and this is the proof of it. So
even though the ticket prices are 50% higher for this film.
Yes.
Which is inflating them. Okay. So, All right. Let me go down to the third paragraph.
Vanity Fair even says the movie already made back its production budget. And I'm like, no, it didn't.
Good Lord. Production budget. No way. All right. So here's Slate's third paragraph that is so important to see. And so I want to warn those out there like Pajot who are claiming that this is some sort of Trojan horse for the right. or Michael Knowles, and listen, we'd love to be on their shows. We'd love for them to be on our shows. We'd love to have this conversation with them. We're not being mean to them. I just want to warn that the woke sees this as a huge victory, and they're using it against them. It says, in other words, only a fool, because it talks about in this, the first two paragraphs about you would never bet against Christopher Nolan or else you're a fool. It says, in other words, only a fool would bet against Christopher Nolan, but the internet is full of fools. For months, credulous media outlets have been running with stories about the purported backlash to Nolan's Odyssey. You mean like when it got slammed with downvotes 10-1 on YouTube? Yeah. But that's purported. Relying primarily and often exclusively on content sourced from Elon Musk's X. If you opened the app anytime this summer, either on purpose or by muscle memory of happier times, you were greeted with a constant barrage of complaints about Nolan's woke revisionism, much of it openly affirmed by the site's owner, Elon. One user named Homer Pavlos pointed to what he said were hundreds of thousands of downvotes on one of the movie's trailers as proof of its imminent failure. Musk chimed in to opine that Nolan had desecrated Homer, grovel on his knees just to make the woke requirements for an Oscar. When historian Tom Holland, not the actor, praised the movie as amazing, Musk responded by calling the popular history host, well, a naughty word. And so this is going on to claim that Elon Musk has been defeated. And look here, folks, again, you got to love this. What are they using? Remember how we've just said that Rotten Tomatoes, in another segment, that people are saying now in the code, perhaps they are hijacking the real audience score, and they found it inside the code that it might be 56%, but Rotten Tomatoes has 97%. Guess what? Slate is saying Rotten Tomatoes verified audience rating, limited to those who actually purchase tickets, is at 97%. All of this to say, the woke are celebrating, and there's this bizarre thing happening where conservative and centrist commentators think this is a Trojan horse for them. Caro, this is one of the most bizarre stories playing out in front of us. What are your thoughts on this, about some on the right trying to claim this film with the artist formerly known as Paige as one of the central characters playing a male soldier?
You mean the soldier that actually wasn't in the Odyssey?
Right!
Yeah. I really feel like there were a lot of changes that were done to Homer's work that really didn't amplify or make anything like meaningful in it. And some of these changes were just done so that way they could get certain butts in chairs. And when I mean butts in chairs, I don't mean our butts in chairs. I mean the actors in roles, right? And I have to tell you, like, Paige's role in this movie was like abysmal. Like, I couldn't wait for Paige to get off the screen the 2 times. And even the first time is when Paige got shot. Like, I should have been like, oh, good. But instead I was like, no, this is drawn out and I'm done with it. I think a lot of people are just trying to project onto this film something that just isn't there, if that makes any sense. Like, they're trying to look into it and be kind of like, oh, it really means this and it's all about that. And I was like, no, it's just a bad film. Like, it really is just a bad film.
Well, let me give you an example of how it's a bad film and why the right, and this is why I don't get what Jonathan Pajot's doing here, because he's a smart guy. He breaks down the ancient stories and the symbolism of them and all this sort of thing. So I don't know how he's not realizing this. Carol, in the movie, one of the things that happens is that at the end, folks, I'm going to spoil the film. It's a 3,000-year-old story, but it's been modified, it's been retconned. I'm going to spoil the retcon. Carol, at the end of the film, we find out that Zendaya's character is not actually a goddess, I don't believe. She's actually a trauma ghost.
She's a PTSD hallucination, yeah.
Right. She's a PTSD hallucination because when Odysseus managed to finally break down the walls and get into Troy, he does so using, of course, the Trojan horse. And that now is retconned to be a horrible, awful, terrible thing that we didn't know all throughout the entire movie was a horrible, terrible, awful thing. But it was, because it breaks the so-called Zeus's law, because in ancient Greek culture, Zeus is the protector of travelers and guests. And so what Christopher Nolan does is he makes the Trojan horse somehow be a gift from travelers and guests, even though in the Odyssey it's supposed to be like a farewell, please don't hurt us, we're sailing away, we give up thing. And so Christopher Nolan sort of flips that and says, oh no, this is a gift from guests. And because that, Odysseus has broken Zeus's law, and that's why he has to go through what he's going through. So this is a victorious moment of creativity and clever, outgaming the city, is actually turned into something that Odysseus did that is evil and immoral. And then as a result, this young girl dies, who's played by Zendaya. And then she's all throughout the movie as a ghost, haunting him because he watched her be killed at the hands of his own soldiers. So Odysseus is this wrongful, bad, evil dude who's broken the basic moral code. That's not in the original Odyssey. This is a total reimagining that takes, once again, the hero of the story, Caro, and turns him into a villain. Now, he's a messy villain, but he's a villain in this movie. And I don't understand how people like Jonathan Pajot don't see this.
Because they're not probably looking for that kind of messaging. Like, I was actually talking about it with my husband this morning because he was like, do you think if it just didn't say Odysseus and they changed like the order of events, that would have been like a good story? And I was like, yeah, if we just didn't have like the constant flashbacks going on, we actually followed the story in chronological order, I probably would have liked it a little bit more. Right.
That's not artsy fartsy enough. That doesn't get awards.
Yeah. And then it would have been kind of like this crew being like, we got this crazy noble that we have to get home. Let's just humor him while he talks to somebody who's not there. So that way we can use him to like get through places. Right. Like that would have been interesting. And it doesn't surprise me that they're trying to take a hero and twist him into a villain, because that's what people have been doing for like the last 20
He's a war
years.
criminal.
Yeah. They've been doing that for 20 years. They also, for a woke film, I was actually amazed at how degrading they were towards like the main female protagonists in this, because we had like, the Homer's Odyssey had very strong female characters in it, right? And so we're supposed to be in this age where we're supposed to like lift them up and blah blah blah. I don't know what the rhetoric is other than it's boring and I don't listen to it. But we had these amazing women in the Homer's telling, and they were completely watered down. Cersei's was supposed to be this beautiful woman that everybody was captivated by. And I'm sorry, Cersei's in this film. I'm sure the actress, when you're not on the screen, you're very beautiful, but she was not on the screen. Right. And then there was also like the modern rhetoric that was kind of shoved in there. So like, if, for example, when the sailors get turned into pigs and she's just like, I just turned them into what they were. All men are pigs. Right. And then when she turns them back, she's like, go back into your disguises. Oh, shut up.
Well, Odysseus doesn't push back on that. That's what's amazing either. There's no defense in the film of, hey, actually, people are complicated and men and women both, are capable of wrong and darkness. Like and she's presented as somebody who's been harmed in the past, and that's why she, does that. So she also is traumatically impacted.
Yeah, and then you have Penelope, who, when she gets into the fight with her son, where, he's like, this throne's been empty. And she's like, I've sat in this empty throne for 20 years and I've led this and blah, 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 blah. And it matters not for the stubble on your chin. And again, I was like, I'm just like done. And then went back to my game.
These are clearly moments in this movie that are reimagining the past. And Lauren, I want to get you in on this, but I don't understand these people who we think are intellectual giants speaking to the mainstream metal who went right over their heads, like Ben Shapiro loves this movie. And I think, how are you not seeing this? How are you not seeing what this is, what they're doing with the messaging? I don't understand.
Are you telling me that Penelope, in a moment when Telemachus is
folks, he's not seen the movie. He's learning this for the first time.
He's attempting to make the case that something needs to be done and that nothing has been done to throw out these suitors. That Penelope's response to Telemachus is not by the hair of your chinny chin chin?
Literally, everything I've done doesn't matter for the stubble on your chin is exactly the wording. I remember
fool
that.
The Cyclops with that old sheepskin.
So, I mean, honestly, the thing that I would be, it seems to me there's an easy way to refute all of this. Let's ask some Greeks what they think. I never want to hear a single thing about cultural appropriation ever again from these people. They have absconded with, colonized, and done damage to an entire nation's cultural heritage and made them partially pay for it. Tell me what that is, if not colonization.
Lauren, there's one point where it's literally an Indian guy and a black guy standing there in Greek armor, and the Indian guy says the line, "We're Greeks from Ithaca."
I think it went something like this, though. I went, "We are Greeks from Ithaca."
Yeah, it was bad. No, Carol's right about all of that. I think a lot of what you're seeing with a lot of these people who should be rejecting this movie based on its messaging and aren't seeing it, I think a lot of it is Nolan colored glasses. I think it is a lot of people who fell in love with Christopher Nolan movies during the Batman era and they love Christopher Nolan, and they don't want to accept the fact that he could be doing something like this, but he's doing it.
I think he became a hero to them because they thought that the third Batman movie was an indictment of some of the stuff we see today.
Mhm.
They loved that the second Batman movie was essentially a criticism of the surveillance state. And it's very difficult for them now to accept that, oh, wait a minute, this really is a woke movie. Like they're twisting in knots trying to figure out a way for this to be their victory and not the woke.
So I have it as I have an editorial up on that Park Place today where I basically say that Lupita Nyong'o has less than 5 minutes of screen time playing two characters in this movie, and that somehow makes her casting worse.
Yeah.
Because it shows that there was no vision, there was no reason for this. It was just for the shield. It was just for the woke points, and yeah, like there is absolutely nothing.
Yeah, we need to see if we can get Jonathan Pajot on the show sometime to talk about this. And, you know, he may be convincing to me, but Jonas, this is what we have to work with right now. He says the movie is a Trojan horse, and then he gets a response to that. His answer back is, the value of a Trojan horse depends on what side you are on. This movie wears a thin postmodern veneer to tell a story of the return of order. I don't buy that.
Well, so I've been waiting to speak, and I've been listening to what everyone says, and it is true that Nolan does put other messages in his films, like The Prestige. There's a lot of layers in that film. Inception, there's an entire conversation around all of the roles being the different roles of a filmmaker, and the idea of putting an idea in someone's head. So it is a lot of fun to find the symbolism inside of a movie. But I'm just going to say this. There's a scene in the Wayne's World series in which Garth says, were you ever attracted to Bugs Bunny when Bugs Bunny dressed like a girl?
I didn't think we were going here, but continue on.
Well, looking at all of these conservative people looking at this and saying, actually, it's a repudiation of the woke and this and that, while also having Pageboy signed on as the greatest hero that Greece has ever seen. Respect to him, and I hope that you take the jab lightly, but it's the kind of stupid that can only come from a college education.
It feels like they're being punched in the face while they say, this is actually quite peaceful. I am feeling the peace right now. That's you're getting smacked in the face with woke. And I continue to believe that perhaps some of this, although I think that Jonathan Pajot is above this, I would never blame him for this sort of thing. But I continue to think that the Rotten Tomatoes audience score that may be fake, and then the inflated box office based on 50% higher ticket prices is tricking a lot of these people into being like, oh boy, I got to get on the right side of this. I can get on the right side of this. This is really popular. Can't be on the wrong side of this.
Right. Is Jar Jar a Sith Lord? That's where we are with trying to say that this movie is secretly anti-woke.
Definitively woke, Caro?
I just think it's a bad movie.
And woke. The chat continues, Jonas. Let's see where they're at.
All right, let's see. Albert, not a retro, for $5 Canadian. As the late, great Robin Williams would say, Canada is a really nice apartment over a meth lab. Fair enough. Kaylee off for $2. Canada burn pit their toxins to smoke the U.S. out. Ooh.
Ouch. And aimed it at New England.
Yikes. Packing protons for $5. My Odyssey 3-day prediction was 300 million worldwide. Final tally 600.
It would have to have a heck of a drop off to stop at 600 after let's call it a 5-day. Okay, let's do the Monday and Tuesday because this film's going to perform differently. A lot of folks are trying to get on the Tuesday because the movie ticket prices are 50% higher. They can only afford the Tuesday matinee. All right. So you got that happening. It's going to be 300 after 5 days. For it to only do a 2x after the first 5 days, you'd have to have a really steep drop off, and I don't see that happening because it has no other competition on the second weekend. I hear what people are saying, and I want you all to be right because I would love for these articles to have to face the music of, our narrative fell apart. So, I'm rooting for you to be right, but I think it's a pretty steep steep drop to achieve that.
Mm-hmm. Albert, not a retro for 5. Canadian woke is just a polite, dumb way dumb people admit to being neo-Marxist. It's a post-rational. It's the idea that the whole world is based on a system of oppression, which is it's Marxism.
Yep, and I appreciate it being one syllable because it makes it easier to say, and then they can pronounce it.
Well, it also doesn't take up so many characters in a YouTube title.
Mm-hmm.
Old Man Bird for $10. Let them continue to suck up $100 million losses. Fine by me. Well said. I like it. Albertus Magnus for 5. I don't know how well the Odyssey will do at the box office, but I can guarantee one thing. I will not bother to see it.
One thing I saw, maybe Caro or Pro, you could tell me about this since you guys saw the movie also. Somebody said that at one point in the movie, he literally says, "It's time we go on an Odyssey." And I don't remember him saying that. Was that actually in there?
I don't remember it.
Wait, who said that?
I think I would have cringed.
Maybe it was a joke then, because I saw enough people say that he said it, and I'm like, I don't remember that.
The word Odyssey comes from Odysseus because of the story.
Yeah,
I don't think it happened.
I don't think it actually happened. I think it was just a joke that a lot of people were saying. Because I was like, there's no way I missed that if that was.
I mean, I'm not going to go see the movie again to verify. So
yeah, I mean, I'm fine never knowing for sure because I'm never going to willfully see that movie.
There is a joke about Odyssey or about Odysseus telling his crew that they're about to go on an Odyssey, and somebody says, "What's an Odyssey, boss?" And he says, "It's a journey where most of the crew dies and only one guy survives." And they look at him like,
maybe we'll pass.
Yep. Timu Dr. Demento for 5. The Odyssey is the definition of the blind woke squirrel finding the nut.
I want to come back to the box office for a minute on this Timu Dr. Demento. Because people need to understand this. This still isn't getting in to the level. We're gonna have to focus on this majorly over the next couple of weeks. Not because we want to propagandize, not because we want to lie, not because we want to create a narrative, but because this is true. It's just true. If the Odyssey makes $800 million, as I'm telling you, if it's 50% higher ticket prices, and it is than a standard film, if this thing has an average ticket price that's 50% more, then guess what? If you reduce that by the 50%, you find out this is underperforming Superman. This has less tickets being sold than Superman. No, Superman that made $600 million.
Oh.
Because $800 million minus the 50% gets you below the $600 million mark. This is underperforming Superman from last year, and we're all sitting around expected to pretend that it's a juggernaut of a cultural movement.
Mm-hmm.
That's not very good. And that's just too bad. WJB Daily for 5. Just checked Huntsville's Valley Bend AMC 4 MX showings today are 60% sold. 11 regular showings are 1% sold or 0% sold. Many shows are discounted. Well, it is Tuesday. It is, as they call it, Discount Tuesday.
Average ticket price for a movie, $16 this year. Average movie ticket price for an IMAX, $25.
Yikes.
Yeah,
I'd rather buy the movie on physical media than go see it in IMAX.
I show the empty theater at the very beginning of my review. I'm just like, this is 2 minutes to showtime, and here we are. And I'm the only person in the theater. And people were accusing me of lying, of like walking into another movie and like and taking a video of an empty theater. I was just like, no, man, this is what's happening. This is what's going on in non-IMAX showings of this movie. So I don't get it.
Echoes of the Ancients for 5. Nolan doesn't understand warfare. Let's pray he doesn't ever find out. Let's see here. Detailed Devil for $5. Damon character returns home in Martian and teaches next generation astronauts. Andy Weir deserves all nods. Nolan wants upgrade from UK Junior Knight status to equal wife. Did his wife get the OBE? Huh. Yeah, you know me. Albert, not a retro for 5 Canadian. When does Xena show up in the Odyssey? Not soon enough. I saw one against an army, which is, of course, the true story of the Persians' invasion of Greece.
Did you see when Lupita got asked who her favorite mythological figure is from Greek mythology, and she couldn't name one?
Oh, wow. I have, despite the fact that we cover all this stuff, I personally have avoided a lot of the press on it. But Xena, sign me up. Pew, pew, pew.
What would you have said if she answered Kratos?
I would have actually respected that.
I'd been like, I don't know what
I
she
kept
means.
praying. I kept praying for Kratos to show up in the Odyssey when I was watching it.
I would have wondered, like, does she know or does she not know? That's clever.
Mm-hmm. Albert, wait. Caveat ties. Hey, good to see you there, Roland. Member for 11. Knowles argues Barbie was secretly conservative. Accidentally conservative, yes, but not secretly conservative.
Yeah, it was 100% an accident. There's no way that Greta Gerwig made a secretly conservative movie. Barbie is conservative because the Kens are the good guys. The Kens are the victims in that movie. They are an oppressed populace who rises up against their oppressors and then gets put back into oppression at the end of the film. So.
Yeah, I like the fact that Hunger Games, I've mentioned this before, it's a movie that's supposed to be against dictatorship, but ends up being one of the most libertarian themes out there. So, and not the right side of the against dictatorship. Forgive me for being political there. Wolfram McGruffle III for 5. There was a relevant ancient Chinese proverb that went something like, Jonas, you must face reveal. Just saying, it's probably coming, at some point.
It's happening, and he's a good-looking dude.
He looked just like his avatar.
Not this one.
Somebody, yeah, I've been told I'm not quite like this avatar. I look more like this avatar than I do Ewan McGregor.
Nope.
Pamela Jones for 5 Canadian. Work hard, play hard. Yeah, I never read the Odyssey in school or otherwise. After this film, I'm not inclined to ever read it. Maybe that's the goal.
No, please go read it. It's actually really good.
Yeah, no, read the Odyssey, please. Like, it's good. Like, don't. This has nothing to do with that. It has absolutely nothing to do with it.
You should probably read it just because it's a great introduction to where did stories come from, because it's one of the earliest written stories. It gives us the hero's journey. So it's worth knowing just so that you know a little bit about, what it's been like being a human for the last many thousands of years.
Yep. Let's see here. Flying Blind on a Rocket Cycle. Good to see you, man. I recommend Pro's interview on Stay on Target. I watched the whole thing, man. For the record, Return of the Jedi is my favorite Star Wars movie. Not saying it's the best, however. Great analysis of it.
Well, thank you so much. If Lorne was here, we could find out what his favorite Star Wars movie is, but I think he stepped away for the moment. Marv, what's your favorite Star Wars movie?
His is Solo.
It's The Empire Strikes Back.
Okay. Carol, what do you go with?
Rogue One.
Jonas?
I say Empire because it's got so much in it, and Kirshner is a fantastic director. So,
Lorne, nowhere to be found.
My favorite is The Last Jedi.
My favorite is the one with the catfish.
Then that would be Phantom Menace, I do believe. Alberta's Magnus for 5. I'm getting the impression that Canada is populated by Stalin's chickens. Then that's where Lauren is. He read that super chat ahead of time.
He's headed to Canada right now.
Echoes of the Ancient for 5. My modern doctoral thesis: privileged pale guys bad. Okay, give me my PhD now. I mean, you're not wrong. That's the kind of thing that they love. So, Mr. Fulton Mirez, yesterday was my big 27th birthday.
Oh.
Happy birthday, Mr. Fulton Miraz. Happy to say we're still circling the sun with you. Let's go. Let's keep this merry-go-round going around and around the Helios.
Happy birthday!
Good stuff. Lavish Patch Kid for $20. Thank you. Generous super chat. It's tradition on IMDb for the high scores to downvote, low scores, and vice versa. The high scores have 1 like and 60 downvotes. They're all bots.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'm not sure about IMDb. That's one that we don't pay quite as much attention to. But this Rotten Tomato score is very interesting, and love the Garbage Pail Kid sticker you got there. Not bad. Not bad at all.
Call sign Bob, member for 13. When in the film they fight Locutus of Borg. Well, that would be futile, wouldn't it?
Lauren, what's your favorite Star Wars movie?
The Empire Strikes Back.
No love for Jean-Luc Picard as Locutus of Borg.
You said that with confidence, Lauren. You didn't even hesitate.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
All right.
No love for.
Why do you ask?
What's your second favorite?
Okay, probably A New
better.
Hope.
You had to think about it.
Yep.
My second favorite is Revenge of the Sith.
Detail level for $2. Bridget Fetisi, DSA equals Bugs Bunny and Drag. Dems equals Elmer Fudd. Thank you, Detail Devil. But Elmer Fudd in a wig is Elmira. Flying Blind on a rocket cycle for 2. Lauren loves
I was a
all.
full adult before I realized that, by the way.
Me too.
that Elmira was Elmer Fudd.
Yeah, me too. It totally went over my head. So let's see here.
Flimeline's doing the Leslie Headland. My favorite Star Wars is all the Star Wars.
Of them. Yep.
Lauren, do you love all the Star Wars?
Are we counting the sequel trilogy?
Lauren, do you love all the Star Wars?
Nope.
Okay. Solve that one. All right, folks, let's talk about one of our favorite celebrities out there. Not really. Ruffalo the Gruffalo. He does not love all the money, even if he makes a lot of money. And he is going after Elon Musk. He's such a gift to Disney. I'm so glad they picked him to be their Pedro 2.0 because it turns out Mark Ruffalo is ready to do battle just before Spider-Man and sink the chances of poor Disney. Let's talk about it right now.
It's time for my summer sizzle. Cool as a cherry popsicle. And don't hold back, get ready to stun.
Do it live!
All right, folks, we've got this out of thatparkplace.com. Mark Ruffalo once effusively praised Elon Musk and Tesla, but now is condemning him over politics. And what is this about? Well, Mark Ruffalo the Gruffalo, right before Spider-Man, is deciding that he hates capitalism, he loves socialism, and yet the man who makes millions does not want to give a single penny away. Let's read about it. It says Hollywood actor and activist Mark Ruffalo has resumed condemning Elon Musk on X, which Musk owns. Ruffalo bookended the week with a pointed attack against the tech mogul, alongside posts about political and environmental issues and calls to block the Paramount Warner Brothers merger. However, in a classic case of the internet never forgets, a resurfaced video from 2014 began circulating online. At the time, Ruffalo had nothing but high praise for the Tesla founder. All right, so let's see here. First of all, the tweet that he calls him a monster says, "You were once going to save the world and abolish poverty. Instead, you have ensured the deaths of hundreds of thousands. And for what?" Ruffalo wrote. "Your own greed and hubris. You had such potential. Squandered. You are not Iron Man, that's for sure. You are not a hero. You are kind of a monster." So take that if you're a fan of Elon. But this is what Mark Ruffalo once upon a time had to say about Elon Musk. Here we go.
You could lease a solar system from Sungevity or Solar City. You could get a Tesla. You could get ride a bike, a motorcycle, electric motorcycle. There's lots we could do. So when they put solar on your house, they cut your energy costs by 40%. They keep 20 and they pass 20 on to you. And you never have to pay a dime. I have it on my house. I see my bills. Once you see the bills or you see your neighbor doing it, then that whole argument loses credibility. And I believe that this is a social justice aspect to this as well. The new technology that hasn't rolled out yet is the new battery technology developed by Tesla. They're piloting that in California right now. They'll put a battery system in your house. Your solar feeds the battery. If there's ever an emergency, another climate disaster, you're not sitting without energy for 2 or 3 weeks. You're drawing off of the power of that battery system, and you're no longer reliant on a utility. That is the wave of the future, and that's what will give people a sense of peace about their energy. They're creating it. They're storing it. Your car will be parked in your garage, and you'll be drawing off your car while you're...
I love this title, actor and activist. And I got to say, too,
Activist.
Mark Ruffalo, yeah, activist. I love that. Mark Ruffalo, basically a spokesperson at that point for Elon Musk and Tesla.
Yeah, he goes on to say in this... I'm sorry, I didn't realize you're playing more. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you.
He says, he basically says that Elon Musk is the only billionaire that's doing anything about the environment.
Okay. All right. Let's take a look now at how he views Elon Musk and, dare I say, capitalism. This is the cartoon he just posted from the Seattle Times. Elon Musk dines alone. Says, "What are you staring at, African kid?" And basically, it's claiming that Elon Musk is the reason that kids are starving. That's what it says. Okay. Mark Ruffalo says, "Hello, Elon Musk. This is how you are perceived. Not too late to course correct, but it's getting pretty late. You certainly have the extra money on hand to really help the people of the world instead of the hell-bent road of chaos and destruction. You are ludicrously barreling down. Put down the cat straw." Folks, I want to remind you as well, Mark Ruffalo knows what he's doing. Spider-Man's about to come out. He's using Disney's Spider-Man as his chance to get this message out to the maximum.
Yep.
All right, let me show you the response to this because it's the ultimate takedown. This has been trending everywhere, and then we'll get the panel in on this. Ant Speaks posts this in response to Mark Ruffalo, who I find just to be one of the most hypocritical, awful people in Hollywood. And that's really saying something. He says, "Hey, Mark, you are worth around $35 million while continuing to land major Hollywood roles. You could donate $25 to $30 million tomorrow, and you would still live an extremely comfortable life for the rest of your days. At a conservative 4% safe withdrawal rate, even the remaining $5 to $10 million would generate roughly $200,000 to $400,000 a year in passive income, several times what the average family earns. On top of that, you own multiple luxury properties, including a New York penthouse reportedly worth about $7 million. And you're still taking on film roles that pay millions. Lecturing others while sitting on tens of millions yourself is peak Hollywood. As for Elon, his charitable giving has far exceeded your entire net worth tenfold. And as for the idea that he can simply solve world hunger by writing one giant check, only demonstrates your fundamental misunderstanding of how global hunger actually works. It's not a problem that disappears because one wealthy person transfers money into the system. You need a basic economics lesson and a mirror, because your hypocrisy is matched only by your lack of self-awareness." And again, 80,000 likes. I've joined in that one. 4.2 million views. Panel, this drives me crazy. I'll go to Lauren first on this one. Lauren, drives me crazy that the Hollywood elites think they can still get away with this. They are the beneficiaries of capitalism to the maximum, but they are ungrateful. They are hypocritical. They say they love socialism and communism, but they give nothing of theirs away. Lauren, I think that Mark Ruffalo is the worst of them because not only does he do that, but he also waits until Spider-Man's about to come out to maximize the damage he might even do to that movie after he has a guaranteed payday.
This is why I disagree with collectivism at a very base level, is because it is used by those who preach it to say, wouldn't it be a virtuous and great thing to do this? And since we are so rich collectively and have so many resources, shouldn't we do this because we do? But you are speaking on behalf of those whose situation you do not know. You do not know what they have in the way of resources or what challenges they have to overcome, but you are using your own perceived virtue to spend their money. Put your money where your mouth is, Mark, or shut up.
Yeah, and I want to get this up on the screen. BleakCon Pro says, Spider-Man is a Sony movie, not a Disney movie. And Jonas, that is correct. However, Disney does participate now in Spider-Man movies, and I believe they put up 25% of the cost on, is it marketing? I forget now. But Disney also gets 25% back on profit. So Ruffalo is hurting Disney. He's hurting Sony. He's hurting Hollywood.
Yeah, they do have a cost sharing agreement on that one. It's a gray area, but at the same time, Ruffalo is, for all of the things that he can point the finger at Elon Musk for, he's fine when Disney does it. There's literal atrocities that Disney has patted on the back in the credits of their films, but he doesn't speak up on those. The other thing I want to point out is didn't Elon Musk offer billions, if not tens of billions, to give to the UN to literally solve world hunger if the UN would just agree to an audit of how those funds were actually spent?
That's correct.
And the UN said nothing back.
They said, take a hike.
Yeah. To me, this is really fascinating. And forgive me, I think that people like Elon Musk generate so much wealth and prosperity and technological improvement that if they're not participating in social programs directly, the tax dollars that they pay, by the way, Elon Musk, largest taxpayer in human history. So if you are under the misguided idea that the government helps people, then you should love Elon Musk. He does more through employment. He's created more millionaires than any employer in human history. And we're talking rank and file people, not like him saying, you there, you there, you there. We're going to have our boys club. There are SpaceX employees that became millionaires overnight because of the cost sharing systems that were in place for SpaceX. And Mark Ruffalo wants to complain that U.S. aid, the most inefficient way to help anyone, and more likely line the pockets of grifters and politicians than any other thing that has ever existed in the history of the planet. I'm sorry. This is ridiculous for Mark Ruffalo to say these things. Go back to the hairdresser, go get in your makeup, put the dots on your face, and roar at the screen for a little while, please. That makes more sense.
Yeah, and we're not here to glaze and praise Elon Musk. I mean, listen, I think he has saved free speech. I also think he makes some mistakes, but I think this is just so ridiculously unfair, unrealistic, and I think it's narcissism unchained. Carol, the difference here is mind-boggling. Elon Musk has basically revolutionized the electric car industry, and maybe just flat out the car industry. He's figured out rockets in space in a way that no other company's been able to. He's launching more rockets than countries. I mean, we can go on and on about what this man has done, and some might try to say, well, it was other people underneath him or whatever. Listen, he's in proximity to success in a way that almost nobody ever has been, right? I mean, he may be the Rockefeller of the age, but with better marketing. Carol, what has Mark Ruffalo done? Okay, in comparison to Elon Musk, Mark Ruffalo landed a role where he pretends to be a nerdy guy, and then the other 70% of the film, they do a CGI green monster man that he doesn't actually play, but it's what people love. And he plays the nerdy version that everybody's waiting for the green monster man to appear. In the world of accomplishments, he's not a doctor, he's not a mechanic, he's not an engineer, he didn't solve world hunger, he isn't an ambassador to any country. He plays a nerd in movies until the green monster man shows up, and he thinks he can chide Elon Musk for not doing enough. Muted still, Carol. On StreamYard.
Somebody must have muted me. I don't know why. I don't know why he's like this. I mean, if he really wants to make some changes in the world, there's some volunteer work that he can do, definitely. I know, there's a lot of programs that he can join where he can go make a difference. He can donate to charities. I know a lot of charities he can donate to that are in need right now. There's Women in Need. There's comic books for kids. I mean, there's plenty for sure. I think he's just a mouthpiece and a Muppet at this point being used by somebody else. And they seem to have some idea that his voice actually carries a lot farther than it does, and it really doesn't. So I'm not really sure why they thought that he would be the champion for this, because last I checked, all the people he's campaigning for don't actually like him. So he's not even the man's man at this point, and I think we're all just kind of quietly waiting for him to go away. So
I think some of the movements he's doing politically too, and we're not political, we try not to be, but Marv, he is promoting democratic socialists, and I think it's starting to concern the Democrats, actually, that so many of these DSAs are winning. Mark Ruffalo is entrenched in this, and he's going to continue to be a voice that's out there, signal boosting this movement that may not be something the mainstream is interested in, because he's in movie after movie after movie. Disney has promoted him. This time it's Sony, but Disney has promoted him. He's in the next animated thing from Disney. He's in... of course, everything, the Hulk, and yeah, I mean, he's everywhere.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, he is everywhere. He's annoying everyone everywhere. He is just the biggest loudmouth in Hollywood. If he only brought the passion that he brings to his loudmouth political activism to his roles, maybe he wouldn't be a terrible actor. Them downgrading from Edward Norton to Mark Ruffalo is one of the biggest downgrades in Hollywood history in terms of the Hulk. I loved Edward Norton as the Hulk. I think Mark Ruffalo is absolutely terrible as the character. And that was before I knew that he was, a complete and utter whack job. It goes beyond that, even pro. Like, I don't know. Disney he says things way worse than anything Pedro has ever said. And Disney continues to, give him all of these roles. He has full on, said things about the president that are libelous. And I don't understand how he has not been sued yet. Or slanderous, I should say, because he speaks it. Yeah, it's absolutely wild that Disney continues to play ball with him, and they continue to allow him to be one of the faces of one of their most valuable brands. I can only imagine how much longer it's going to go, because the more time goes on, the worse he gets. He only gets louder and louder and louder. And if Disney were to close the door on him, I think he'd be done, because he's never going to work for Paramount or Warner Brothers ever again, because he has made himself the face of the anti-merger campaign over there. So yeah, we're going to see what happens with him, but it's going to be interesting, because he will not shut up.
I think you're right. I think he's going to keep talking, and Disney and Sony and all these others, they're going to be sorry eventually, because this guy, he only knows one thing, and that's activism towards power with a capital P, or is it a lowercase p? I don't know. But it's part of communism, socialism. He's a nut job just like Pedro. He's Pedro 2.0. Oh, Avengers Doomsday has a trailer, and guess what, folks? It just might be a great big meh. Now, in terms of ratio, it's doing just fine. 2.1 million likes, 70,000 dislikes. It's got 170,000 comments, and it's been viewed almost 40 million times. By the time you're watching this, probably has been viewed 40 million times. But that doesn't mean necessarily that it's a hit. And why? Well, because it's just not that interesting. Let's go through it real quick, and we'll see what's in it. We can't play the thing because, well, they'll get us. But we've got Professor X. We've got the Marvel logo. Oh, boy, oh, boy. We've got a lot of people that nobody cares about. Oh, boy, oh, boy. You know what? Actually, how about we go to Gizmodo, because they break it all down for us, and we'll just walk through it with them, since, again, Disney won't let us play the trailer here.
We also have Doom. We also have Doom being like, foreboding things.
Yes, Natasha, get me Moose and Squirrel.
Still, we must report back to Fearless Leader.
That's right. We've got Gizmodo here. Jen Lennon writing this one. What's actually going on in the Avengers Doomsday trailer? Well, let's find out. All right, here's what we've got. Trailer opens on a battered sign that reads Xavier's School for Gifted Youngsters. You've got Professor X looking through at the incursion. Blinds him. Boom, boom, boom. You get the idea. Canonically, Doom is from Latveria, a fictional country in Eastern Europe. So we got that. Cut to a shot of Doom kneeling somewhere outdoors, flames in the background. Then we get this. Fantastic Four show up, and they join up with the new Avengers, I guess, which has to be the most lackluster thing ever. So already, not a lot of excitement here, Marv. These are characters that nobody cares about, and they are featured prominently in this trailer, including, if we go down, we get a lot of folks that nobody cares about them in the movie. They would care about Black Panther. They don't care about not Black Panther.
Well, Marv, when I watched this trailer with my wife, she had no idea who Namor was.
Yeah.
She was like, who's that? I said, it's Namor. And she's like, who? And I'm like, you saw this movie with me. And she had no memory of it. They're really leaning hard on M'Baku also, I noticed. I think mostly because they know everyone hates Shuri Black Panther.
Yep.
This was the trailer that was given in a leak months ago. Like, it's the exact trailer down to the Gambit versus Shang-Chi and Doom catching the axe and all of that other stuff. Like, so this is a trailer that they've had ready to go for literally months. So the fact that we're just getting it right now and it still looks terrible is definitely saying something, because a lot of these effects look really half-baked.
Yep. I will say that, what is his name again? Is it Mark? Mark who plays Cyclops? What's his name?
James Marsden.
James Marsden. I don't know why. Listen, I know that name 99 out of 100 times, and it slipped me on that time. I think that does look cool, the Cyclops stuff. But I mean, every time they go to Disney Plus things, when we get Fantastic Four with Wakanda, when we get Loki from the TVA, we basically at this point know. And you got the Thunderdolts hopping in, and it's just like, this is not what's going to get people excited. And haggard old Professor X and Magneto, that's not going to get people excited. At this point, we think that it's been leaked what's in the movie. I am shocked how much they're focusing on characters that might not be in the film very much. If I were them, I'd be focusing on, the very few things that might win. And that, of course, well, I guess they don't want to spoil it, but it's already spoiled. Just go ahead and show it. Just be like, hey, you got Deadpool, whoop, up, and let's do the thing, right?
It looks like Saved by the Bell, the new class, but like for a special episode where like Zach and Slater come back.
That is the best description I have ever heard of this. That is a perfect description. Say it again, Marv.
Thank you. It's Saved by the Bell, the new class, in a special episode where Zach and Slater come back.
In other
Thor,
words,
Captain America.
for those who never saw it, it's like when they tried to do a spinoff of Saved by the Bell in the same high school with different kids, and people are like, I'm not watching this. And they're like, but we got an episode where we bring back the real cast for one episode. That's what this is. That's a great point. It's a collective meh, Caro. I don't, and this is why I'm going to say it. You know, people are going to be aggravated at us. They're going to say, well, it's got so many likes. It's got so many, you know, there's not being ratioed. You guys just don't like it. Caro, nobody is excited. Nobody's talking about this relatively to what we should anticipate and expect. It's being met with just kind of like a, okay.
Meh. Yeah. That was my thought. Like so you mentioned that James was playing Cyclops, and that was like, oh, that might be interesting. And I was like, I'm still not going to go see it. Like, I'm a big James Marsher fan. I really am. And even then, I'm like, nah.
So one of the big deals in the film, and I'll reshare this and get up on screen. One of the big deals that they're trying to make, you know, everybody excited about is we get serious Thor. No, not you, Sue. Get off the screen. We're doing serious Thor.
We get Russo Thor.
That's going to be really jarring in the next one when he's a goofball again.
Yeah, Taika turns him into a doofus, and then, you know, the Russos bring him back.
And let's see, where's my clip? Here we go. Here's serious Thor versus Doctor Doom. And that's what's supposed to be the big deal here. The problem is the whole movie's been leaked already. I mean, we know the story from top to bottom, so it just removes all anticipation. And the scripts, if it is what it is, it's not all that exciting. So I don't know, guys. Lauren, Jonas, maybe I'm just being a Debbie Downer here, but this didn't do it for me. This needed something. It needed something that really caught people's attention, and an old trailer that's been out there for a month, just not officially released, that kind of confirms some of our worst fears and puts out a lot of the Z-tier characters.
Well, I don't know. The problem is there's no surprises with this film. They released the cast list months ago in the slowest, most boring way possible. So there's no real surprises in this trailer. We you know, us as non-normies, I'm not trying to elevate us when I say this, or let's say we're hyper aware.
No, elevate me.
Yeah, well, Caro actually reads the comic books, probably not the more recent ones. There's so much in this that it's only disappointing to go through it, because Mystique transforming into Yelena, I don't have a problem with Yelena as a character, but it does feel a little forced after a while, like she's supposed to be the new it girl of the MCU. But there's nothing in here that makes me go, yes, I want to see that, because I'm going to have to see a lot of stuff that I'm not interested in seeing in order to get to it. I want to see M'Baku. M'Baku is hilarious in everything that he is in the MCU, but he's not talking in here. It looks like everybody's glowering, and all of the fun people glowering. I'm sorry, we already did that in Infinity War and Endgame. I've seen this Thor. He was in Infinity War. I don't want to see this again, because is he going to be Fat Thor in the next one? Is that what they're going to do again? Because they're screwing around.
Here's the perfect image for why I am not excited for this. Fantastic Four in the background, Ant-Man in the midground. You got Falcon, aka New Soldier, beside him. Thor over there. You've got Thunderdolts on the left, and it's just like none of this is exciting. There's not a new exciting character in this group. There's, like, we've done this before. How many times do we have to do a movie where they all get together and plan out their attack, and now they're going to fight the X-Men all together? Like, we have done all this. Do something new. Lauren, is this just the obvious result of a franchise that's been going on so long?
I've been actually debating that with myself. I've been trying to decide. The last couple of phases, I think, have abused the audience. That is a big no-no. They produced boring, preachy content. I have questioned, suppose that didn't happen and we were just after Endgame. What would you do? I think a lot of the times the problem with these kinds of movies is that you build up the team up so much, you keep elevating the potential threat to where it is so large, and it has to keep getting larger, that it ceases to have meaning. And my thought when that happens is always go smaller and more intimate and more character driven instead of more characters, if you get what I'm meaning. But I don't know if even that would help this. Yesterday, when we were talking about this, I had seen the trailer, but not heard it. And so last night I watched it with audio to see if my opinion changed. And in a sense, it did. But in a way, it also didn't. The visuals, I think, are just meh. It's the same stuff we've all seen before. There's nothing at all new there. Once you've seen galaxy-spanning consequences, there's nowhere else to go. There's no more real spectacle that you can shoehorn in. I'm not sure what to make of Doom's voice. It was not what I expected it to be.
Terrible.
I don't know. I'm not willing to condemn it yet, but it didn't bring me on board. The one thing I did like, and this is kind of what you guys are saying that you didn't because you've seen it before, I like Serious Thor being back, and I thought he brought gravitas to it. I like when Thor is taken seriously and centered, but I don't think that's enough. I think a cardinal sin that they're doing here, in my opinion, is there hasn't been build up to this. We're supposed to take that Doctor Doom is this gigantic threat on the level of Thanos, but we haven't seen Doctor Doom do anything. And you're telling us, you're not showing us. That's not ever a good idea.
That's it. That's it. You're right, because in the trailer, you've got Thor saying, "I have faced many things. We have blah, 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 blah. We survived. I have never been afraid as I am this time." It's like, there was a 1 in a trillion chance you were going to beat, Thanos. I think that was pretty darn scary. And you're telling me you're more scared now. Like, I'm sorry, you don't get to do it that way. You can't ramp up anymore.
I don't think he's talking about Doom in that. I think that's an ad context quote. I think it's about the incursions.
Me too, because I think Doom is in the background of that scene, whether or not they've actually put him in that scene.
Yeah, because we think Doom works with them for the majority of the movie until the very end when they realize that the guy named Doom is actually the bad guy.
What a shock there.
Forget the quote, though. What have you done to build up Doom? Now, maybe that's what they're intending to do here, because we've got a couple of movies afterwards. But I don't know. He's coming out of nowhere.
So when I'm thinking back to the Infinity War trailer and how we all felt about that and how awesome it was, because even we had only glimpsed Thanos 3 times at that point. We had glimpsed him at the end of Avengers, we saw him in Guardians 1, and we saw him at the end of Age of Ultron, right? But the things that we had seen over and over again were the Infinity Stones. We knew. So when we saw in that trailer him break the Tesseract and pull the stone out of it, when we saw the Power Stone in the glove and him doing this in the trailer, that meant something to us. When we saw Corvus Glaive's blade coming down on the Vision's head trying to dig the Mind Stone out, these are all things that were built up and had been earned. Nothing in this has been earned. Most people have not even seen anything since Endgame, and now they're releasing this super special 7 minutes longer version of Endgame because they're trying to connect it to Doomsday, and I don't think it's going to work.
I think they hinted at Doomsday in Fantastic Four.
At the very end, he's standing there in the room talking to Franklin Richards.
But
it's not anything that builds up the threat.
That was like they like he's there, but it's not in like the cool way, because I know what you're talking about with like the Thanos glove, because I remember seeing that and be like, yeah, it's about to go down. But when he was in the Fantastic Four end credit thing, I was like, eh.
Let me ask you guys this.
That the big moment at the end of this is they're seeing Captain America, but they don't see Captain America because Captain America is an uptight guy from the 1950s with short blonde hair and usually a white T-shirt, something 1950s style. Instead, he's got the beard, so that's an unusual choice. He's got the long hair. That's an unusual choice. He looks pretty casual. That's not Captain America. That's Chris Evans. I'm sorry. Chris Evans being a character.
Huge problem.
I also need to point out something that I realize. If it's true that Captain America has been living in the Fantastic Four universe this entire time, I heard that and something broke in my brain, because it means that Galactus attacked and Steve Rogers did absolutely nothing about it.
Dude.
Yeah, we're in all kinds of mental twists right now that are going to ruin. Anyway, let me say this, and that's a great point, Marvin. I wonder, and maybe this is where we wrap the conversation, see what you all think about this. Maybe the secret sauce that was the MCU was that RDJ was playing Tony Stark and people loved it. Maybe it was that they loved Captain America. maybe Chris Pratt was another key part that came in a little bit later and made some special happen. And maybe we've removed some of the best parts of the MCU, and maybe there's no solving that now. Unless you have Tony Stark, unless you have Captain America, the real Captain America, unless you have Chris Pratt with the antics of Guardians. If you don't have those things, maybe you don't have the MCU. And maybe we're doing now a movie that somehow brought RDJ back to play a villain less impressive than Ultron. This could be a real disaster.
I think what happened before was they had consistency, right? Because like with Thor, like they had the Shakespeare company come in and work with the actors and give it like that old time feel, right? And then when they did Fat Thor, that was terrible. I really in Ragnarok, they completely went off script on that completely, and it just kind of ruined the character for me. And every time they deviate from what they did before, it's not actually funny or revolutionary. It's just it's cheap, right? And one thing that I have noticed since Endgame is that a lot of the storytelling that they are doing in this is they're taking shortcuts, and they're using story crutches a lot, because at this point, I think all of their actual writing talent and the people who are passionate about this, I think they're gone at this point. And they're trying to make as much money as they can before, all the strings get pulled. But that's my take.
I think it's a great take. All right, folks, tell us your take, please. We'd love to hear from you. Is Marvel now missing the key ingredients that makes the whole thing work? Are we surfing in a souffle of suck now that the MCU is stuck with actors who either aren't playing their key roles or simply aren't around? We'd love to hear from you. And how can Kevin Feige ever turn this around? Jonas J. Campbell, it's time for the Super Chats. Where are they? Where are they at, sir?
Oh, look, here's one. Staccato DDS for $10. I could be wrong about this, but doesn't the foreign box office return less than 50% of the studios? If so, why is it counted as 50%? It's counted that way because in most territories, it's like, it's like 25%, isn't it?
So here's how it works. The foreign box office does return less than 50%. The foreign box office varies widely depending on countries. Typically, when we're talking about places like Europe, it's about 45%. In the United States, the return is actually higher. It's 55% comes back to the distributor. What we do is, with most movies, we say, okay, because the international is 45 and because the domestic is 55% that comes back to whoever made the movie, we just put that at 50 for easy numbers. Only when we have films that are significantly skewed to the outliers do we actually work to reconfigure that. So, for example, the last time this happened was Zootopia 2. Zootopia 2 made a huge amount of money in China. China only sends back about 20 to 25%. In the past, it had been as low as 18%, but it's 20 to 25% comes back from China to the Hollywood studios. So on a movie like Zootopia 2, we have to reassess because a huge chunk is Chinese, and so that might have dropped it down where Disney only pulled back 40% or less once every group is added in. But with how China has become much more of a non-factor so often, we tend to get to say the 50% because it's an average of the domestic and international, 10% gulf between. Good question, Staccato.
That's really good. You got to look out for the Chinese chunks.
Ew.
Not a retro for $5 Canadian. Doesn't Ruffalo realize that without capitalism, there are no agency and wouldn't have the freedom to criticize the government like he can now?
Oh, no. He's going to be the government. He'll be one of the ones in charge. That's how all the proponents of this, they all think that way. They'll all be at the top, and you'll be unable to criticize them.
Yes. They believe that corporations are bad, and they forget that a government is a corporation that you have no choice but to work with. God is the great physician for $5. I was a little worried about that when I started reading it. Thank you very much there. Guys, that 56% is literally dumb. They removed all verified reviews close to 8K and only used a sample of 886 unverified to get that number.
So my understanding on this is, because we did look into this, My understanding is that they removed all the push. Remember, we talked about the push reviews? So what they did is, looking at the code, they removed all of the reviews that were pushed out requesting that you put a review in because you had a long-term Fandango reservation. They removed all of those to get their 56%, and they only looked at the reviews that came in where the person actually had to access Rotten Tomatoes without getting a notification on their phone. What do you think about the movie? Yada, yada. So I think that's a legit way to do it. The reason I think it's a legit way to look at that and get the score is because that's how every other website works. IMDb is not sending you a thing saying, please give us a click right now. Thumbs up, thumbs down. You're not getting that from Metacritic. You're not getting that from Criticalist. Like, I think you do need people to take the time to click on the thing and be like, you know what, I actually want to review this. I think that you do get skewed data if you're specifically reaching out via a very quick on your phone that says, what do you think about it? And you know that these are folks who've had a long-term reservation.
Yep, they pushed it. They pushed it real good. Albert, not a retro for 5 Canadian. Let's not forget, Musk believes it's a good idea to put chips in people's brains. Didn't Disney fire Mark after saying something about Trump and kids?
Did they fire Mark?
No, I was talking about the first part.
Yeah, but, so Musk, that's actually not fully accurate, I would say. On Neuralink, now I'm not trying to defend Elon Musk, and you may be talking about something I'm not thinking of, but Neuralink is what I think you're referring to. And Neuralink, the goal is to insert microscopic needles. Sounds scary, right? Microscopic needles into the brain, into the surface of the brain, in order to allow people who are paralyzed to be able to walk again and that sort of thing, or to allow them to be able to move cursors on the screen if they can't move their hands. But in terms of chips in brains, I don't think so. I don't think that's one of the things he's after. Other people maybe, but I don't think Elon Musk. Mm-hmm. Please don't hack my brain.
Albert, not a retro for 5 Canadian. Anybody who is a devotee to a political party is a monkey in a cage throwing waste at each other while the Illuminati laugh at them.
I don't know about the Illuminati, but I'm not a devotee to anything other than the truth with a capital T.
Mm-hmm. Doge Pal for 2. Pro, do something new. Marvel, Captain Durag film.
Yeah, I am waiting every day for it.
Oh man, that's what we need. We need the Durag symbol up in the sky.
Lest you think it's an impossibility. I mean, they did put Captain Durag into pre-K kids content on Disney Plus. So,
and the twerker that put it in there was very offended that we were all offended.
Twerker or tweaker? Both.
Mm-hmm. Albert, not a retro for 10 Canadian. One of the biggest sins Disney committed was turning Thor into a buffoon. Ragnarok was right up there with Sharon Carter's feminist twist in the River of Truth speech they stole from Captain America. Was that Sharon Carter? Yeah, that was Sharon.
Yeah, they had Sharon Carter do it instead of Steve. It's like it's like Steve's like most famous speech from the comics is the plant yourself like a tree beside the river of truth, like, and say no you move. Like that is 100% was supposed to be Captain America, and now it was told by Captain America's kind of girlfriend to to get him to wake up and do the movie.
Yeah, that's very true. Man, they really stole a good Captain America sequel away from him to set up Avengers Infinity War. I didn't like that.
But I do like Civil War.
Yeah. I like it. I just don't like it as a Captain America film. Spartan Bot for $5. It looks like Disney had ESPN and its partnership with Make-A-Wish per a Wesley Steinberg ex-post at 11:50 a.m. might be worth looking into. That would be amazing since Josh Tomorrow is on the board of Make-A-Wish. That's been a seat he's held for a very long time.
Yeah, so, and Disney World itself, I think, is the biggest donator and donation location for Make-A-Wish in terms of these kids being donated the opportunity to go to do something like that. So there may be some nuance to that story, but we'll look into it.
Yep. Let's see here. Albert, not a retro for 10. You're busy today, Albert. I appreciate the super chats. For those who don't know, the eulogy Carol gives at Peggy Carter's funeral was a horrible feminist take on the inspirational speech Captain America makes in Amazing Spider-Man 537. I don't know. The thigh holster comment was a kind of interesting when Emily from Bandcamp said it.
Oh boy. Albert, it's no surprise that every time they try to revise these things, they miss the mark. I think they're doing it on purpose. I think we know what they're up to, and they hate that we know what they're up to.
Yep. Wolfle McGruffle III, 550 gems he's donated and says, stay hydrated.
Stay thirsty, my friends.
Up. Yeah. Albert Not a Retro for 5 Canadian. It's called a Neuralink brain chip. I don't want any tech in my brain. I don't think you have to get it. If we get to the point where they want to put chips in people's brains non-voluntarily, we're obviously going to have a big problem.
Yeah, I think we would have a problem with that. But yeah, I don't know about the brain chip itself. I just know the needles go into the what's the name of the leathery border of the brain that's on the outside? I can't remember the name of it right now. No.
They call that the pigskin.
The medulla oblongata.
They actually do call it the pigskin.
No, that's like further in.
Anyway, so but they, as far as I know, they just attach the tiny little electrodes there. I don't think there's an actual chip that goes in the brain. I could be wrong. I think the chip's on the other side with the computer. But right now, this is for people who are paralyzed. So, I mean, if I were paraplegic or quadriplegic, and somebody said, "Hey, we're going to do this thing. It's very invasive, but it may give you more independence," I think I'd be up for it.
Yeah, and if they can get it to where you can have a controller going through your brain, you'd really, really win at Fortnite.
You had to go there, didn't you?
Yep. Gary Knight shout out for $2. What are the chances of Ironheart being in ADD?
Oh, we'd heard that it was
that's
we heard
perfect.
it was possible.
I would say it's slightly higher than She-Hulk.
Well, they would have to end her deal with the devil that she made at the end of the last season. So,
well, you're never going to see her again in a second season. So,
well, she is. Yeah, I mean, she is a servant of the Dark Lord, and I don't mean Voldemort in the MCU. So, who knows?
Devils and witches. It's everything Disney does now.
It's pronounced Voldemort. The T is silent.
Yes, that's true. And I did get. I did finally look. It's Bo-Baton, not Bo-Batten, like Michael Gambon says. Albertus Magnus for 5. Advancing tech, including potential uses for implants, is totally unrelated to eliminating corruption of government using billions to buy votes through. You said.
There you go.
Yep. Let's see here. Jordan Aro. Oh, Royd dealer for 5. The pushed reviews is the verified. It's close to 8K, so only using a sample that's 10% is slow. You can go on the thread and verify for yourself.
We're going to look into it more. Just know that what we're paying close attention to is that if you go into the code for Rotten Tomatoes, there are things here to be investigated, I think. The 97% or 98% audience score, I think we've all said here, is a number that seems sus. So.
Mm-hmm. Michael Cooley for 5. Do the Neuro brain chips come in barbecue flavors?
They do. Cool, they do if the voltage is too high.
Yeah, they said mesquite, and I think that's either insects or it's barbecue.
Lauren?
Also brain flavor.
Yummy.
Brains.
All
right.
We don't want zombies on the lawn. All right. We're going to get started on our next story, ladies and gentlemen. And it's a great one because we are talking about, well, movies we loved this year. Movies that we enjoyed. The battle for Hollyweird. But before we do so, Jonas J. Campbell, you've got to go.
That's
and
right.
when you got to go, you got to go. No smoke bombs, Jonas. Tell the folks out there, what was your experience like at Southeast Game Exchange before you go?
Oh, it was amazing. It was, I didn't expect to enjoy it as much as I did. I thought I'd be working a lot, and I was working a lot, but it was enjoyable. Got to finally meet in person some great people like Caro. She gave me a gift when we met, and I was not expecting that. Still going through that gift, by the way.
I had to smuggle it through TSA.
She gave me a half-open bag of peanuts. What is going on here? What's happening here?
I mean, are you already finished with yours? I mean, I'm savoring each and every single one of them.
You ate the peanuts before I got the bag. What are you talking about, man?
Oh wait, yeah, I did eat half the peanuts there. But fantastic time. Much respect to Real Life Fake Wizard. Got to meet a lot of people.
Absolutely.
And I wish I could name them all. But I really think that wizard guy is going places.
Wait a minute. No, I agree. And we should say a huge thank you to Wizard. But Jonas, you're not telling a story that I was expecting. And you got to tell the story before you skedaddle.
Which one? Are you talking about getting to meet somebody who had to go fast?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You
All
were
right,
too
yeah,
slow. Tell the story real quick.
Yeah. Okay. So there's someone in my life that is a huge Sonic the Hedgehog fan, and it's not just WDW Pro. And she handed me a story that she had written about Sonic the Hedgehog when she was 13 years old, and asked me, "Hey, could you get Roger Craig Smith, the voice of Sonic the Hedgehog, to take a look at my book and get him to autograph it?" Well, I was also told, if there's any damage done to this, Dad, I might murder you. So careful packaging. It was also sandwiched between all the most fluffy clothes in my luggage.
And you don't wear fluffy, so this was special.
Yeah, before I even get to the con, I'm at the hotel. I walk out of my room, and who should come out of the room 2 doors down but Roger Craig Smith? And we both went to the same elevator, and I looked at him and I said, "You look familiar," knowing exactly who he was. And I said, "I'm supposed to bring a book to you that my daughter has written." And he said, "Hey, let's record a video and send it to her and blow her mind then." So there's a video that I sent to my daughter, and she may have been learning to drive at the time, and had to pull over, and maybe had an emotional reaction to that. And now she does have a signed copy of this book. So,
and when she pulled over, we want to clarify the fire hydrant will be okay.
That's
the fire hydrant will be okay.
They're less expensive than you would think.
All right, Jonas, great job on the DAD moment. It's very cool that you got to do that, and we're so happy for you. Jonas J. Campbell, we'll see you real soon. Thank you for stopping by today.
Awesome to be here, and great to see you.
Awesome to the possum. All right, folks, it's time. Let's talk about the good movies. We'll come back and get the super chats. And yes, folks, we know we hit that goal today. We'll also be doing a special Q&A on the other side. All right, 3, 2, 1, here we go. Next story. Let's rock it. It's on the docket for you. There's a battle in Hollywood for how movies are going to be made, what kind of movies they say you're going to receive on silver screens. And we're here to say, folks, it's been a hodgepodge this year of great, good, bad, terrible, awful. And you know what? Some real masterpieces we hope come back again. Let's talk about it and what we are hoping might be the lessons Hollywood takes away, even if they are dense and dull and seldom want to listen to what we tell them will work. And it always does. There have been films like Moana and the Odyssey, which I would say have been rather disappointing. Young Washington was just fine. And then you've got Supergirl, which was a super stinker. There's no doubt about it. These are my reviews on Criticless, by the way. Toy Story 5 as a film for girls specifically and not for dudes was A-okay. And the Mando and Grogu film, not all that fun. But we get into some good stuff. Wizard says that Sheep Detectives, I've got a low score for it at a 7.5. I thought it was good. Wiz says it's a 10 out of 10. We want more of that, right? Not Animal Farm. But going back to earlier in the year, before the summer, boy, we had a run of great films. Michael, the biopic, I gave an 8 out of 10. Really good movie. Fantastic film that wasn't afraid to look at the pathological nature of a family and what it did. A corrupt father to his son, even if his son was one of the most famous people on earth. Ignore Hoppers for a minute. Project Hail Mary, I gave an 8.5 out of 10. I thought it was phenomenal. I thought it was fantastic. Amaze, amaze, amaze. Truly anti-woke and all about that the human spirit can overcome, that guys can do the right thing, and that with some teamwork, you just might be able to save the world. And of course, we enjoyed the Mario movie as well. Mario Galaxy receiving a 7.3 from me. I wanted to ask the panel, because we talk a lot about movies that we don't like. I didn't want to do that, every single time. We've had some great films this year, and I'm excited about some films coming up. I'm excited about I Play Rocky. I'm excited about Godzilla Minus Zero. I wanted to know from you all, what have been your favorite films this year? And do you think Hollywood is learning at all from this? Like, are we going to get a Top Gun Maverick 3 that's a really good film? Like, are they learning what the audience desires, and are they ready to give that to us?
Some, maybe. I really like Project Hail Mary. I actually really liked Young Washington too. I was surprised when I saw that movie that there were quite a number of people in my theater, and it was a very rare case when the movie was over that the audience applauded, which I don't usually get in my theaters. There's been other stuff that I think is trying to move in a crowd-pleasing direction, but I don't think that they're ready to commit yet. Now, when you talk about the indie movies that are being done by the YouTube folks, the Obsessions and the Backrooms,
Yeah, good point. Good point.
That stuff is trying to cater to find an audience because you have people that have detected that there is a weakness from this Hollywood output, and that gives them an opportunity to strike, especially when there is audience engagement that is going to support the project, which is why some of these distributors are picking them up. Hollywood would be wise to pay attention to that.
Yeah, and some of those films have gotten like an 80 times return on investment. In Hollywood, if you can get a 15%, return on investment, that's considered a success. These are getting 80x. I mean, that's crazy. Marv, there's an independent action film that I know that you've loved. Walk us through that. And is that teaching Hollywood anything, the response to it?
Yeah, that is The Furious. The Furious, which is made by the guys that made The Raid of Redemption, one of the greatest action films of all time. It has got, action on a level never seen before. The fight scenes in this are absolutely incredible. It has a great, story behind it of a father trying to get his daughter back and a husband trying to find his wife. That's absolutely a movie that I think everyone needs to see, especially if you're a fan of the action genre. There's been a lot of good. There has been a lot of good this year. I loved Sheep Detectives also. I very much enjoyed Obsession. I thought Obsession has earned every dollar that it has made. That was such a good film. But again, for every Obsession, there's a
Supergirl.
Supergirl or a Hoppers or something like that. So, I don't think the lesson is being learned where it has to be learned. I think it's being learned in smaller films. I think mid-budget films are starting to take off more, while these big, huge, expensive blockbusters are flopping left and right. Moana was, a case study in excess, in asking too much of your audience and trying to go to the well too many times, because this was their again, they had an evergreen IP, one that was never going out of style, and then they drove it into the ground because it's the Disney machine of I must do more, and that was a Bob Iger decision. So that was another Bob, what are you thinking moment. But yeah, Mario Galaxy movie. I loved Mario Galaxy movie.
Well, let me ask you. Marv, you said something important. I don't want to lose it. You talked about mid-budget films are winning this year.
Mm-hmm.
Are we seeing the same thing that's happening in the gaming industry happening in movies now? Because we talk about this is the year of AA and single A games, and AAA has really, outside of the hope that GTA 6 can save them, and it may, the gaming industry has just cratered around the big budget gaming. Is that the same thing we're seeing with cinemas?
I think it's possible. Yeah. I think that people are starting to feel, people are starting to feel like the artificialness of these big budget films that are, assembled by committee. And I think that's where you're starting to see them fail, but you're starting to see things that are, speaking to either universalities or speaking to very specific audiences and actually catering to those audiences at volume. I think you're starting to see, a turnaround with that. So yeah, I think we are seeing that what we're seeing in gaming kind of coming back and making a strong case for it in movies. Yeah, absolutely. It's the year of the indie film.
Carol, one of the things that I think is happening right now in Hollywood is that we did get some movies that we've really enjoyed. And I think that drives them crazy because it means that we're not just haters. And I think the Odyssey right now, partly what they're up to is they're trying to frame that as a success that proves go woke, go broke is dead. They're doing that because they've seen significant flops. They didn't like that Animal Farm did so poorly. They don't enjoy when Supergirl stinks up the box office. And so I think they're trying to reframe the Odyssey so that they can get more Odysseys. And what we're saying is, no. We want Project Hail Mary. We want more movies like Michael that are authentic. Carol, what do you think is going to be the path forward for Hollywood if they're going to get this back on track? Is it the Odyssey? Is it softly presented woke or maybe overtly woke, but then masculine enough that people in the middle will say, oh, and it's not woke, you guys are crazy. Like, what is the path forward here?
Oh, I think we're seeing at least I think we're seeing the tail end of decisions that were made like 5 years ago with some of these productions. And so they're just trying to get them out the gate. And my personal opinion is they're not going to learn if we're not articulate enough. Like, Marv and I joke about having the word count about why we do or don't like things. But the reason he and I like discuss things at length is because we're not just saying, I don't like it because the character's boring. Like he and I really like dive into like what makes it work and not work and why it's shining or not shining in various different ways. And when you come out with a logical argument that's detailed like that, they can't really argue about it. And a lot of times when they're pushing back on our commentary about like go woke, go broke, we're talking about the same things that we always do, race change, all that stuff, right? But you have to like discuss why that's detracts from the story. You have to come off as somebody that's like at a level higher than they think that we operate. Because to Hollywood and entertainment, they usually think the general consumer is just dumb. Like I'm not even being facetious with that. They really do think that we're dumb and we're not going to catch things. But as long as we're vocal and we keep sharing our thoughts and opinions on that, because the truth is that a lot of these IPs that they're making films for have very passionate people wanting to consume them. And I mean like the customers love the IP and they love everything behind the IP and they will like invest time I have a friend that loves video game I think he loved WoW so much that he learned how to program so he could make his own game, right? Yeah, and it's that kind of passion that's going to keep carrying us through. I think indies are going to do a lot better because indies can pivot faster. Because with these bigger studios, you have to deal with your investors, your CEOs, all of that stuff. And they are very quick to get in the way. When I worked at one game studio, I got held up not because of the CEO. I got held up because of his girlfriend who wanted us to change a character design. I was like, you don't work here. Like, what is going on? Right? Where indie studios can just, they can change and move and do whatever they need to do to be successful. So maybe I'd be curious to see what films come out next year. And if that's probably when I can tell you if they learned something or not. Some of these studios, I was just pulling up this list because, I've actually seen more movies this year, thanks to you guys, than I have in probably 5 years. But some of these movies that have come out, some of them are from the same studio and some of them do really well and some of them don't. And so I'm kind of curious if they do like their own after action report about why it's rocking and why it's not. So, and that's my very long-winded response. Thank you.
Let me ask the panel this. What are your most anticipated movies coming out? What are you looking forward to the most?
Godzilla Minus Zero, I Play Rocky, and I think that might be it.
Why? Why are those? Because that's the same for me. Why are those what you're looking forward to?
Well, I mean, they look tremendous. The trailer for I Play Rocky was so good. Rocky's my favorite movie of all time. Really, 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 really enjoyed that. Godzilla Minus Zero. I mean, Godzilla Minus One was so good. Who wouldn't want to see more for that? I actually also am, and I know this might be dumb of me, but I'm looking forward to Spider-Man Brand New Day.
I don't see there's no reason for that to be dumb. I can understand.
Well, I don't think the Spider-Man movies have ever truly let us down. I mean, Far From Home was underwhelming, but other than that, I've liked all the Marvel Spider-Man movies. So I'm looking forward to that one as well. And I think I know where it's going. And if it's going where I think it's going, I'm excited for it.
Lauren, what are you looking forward to? And as I'm scrolling through here, one of the things I'm noticing is some of the sequels, some of the dependence on franchises may have not gone well. Maybe we're getting to the point where people are sequel fatigued.
Yeah, I think there's some of that. The main ones that I'm looking forward to are I Play Rocky. There's a biopic that is of Jimmy Stewart that's called Jimmy.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Yes.
There is one, this one may already be out. It was the Brendan Fraser movie where he plays Eisenhower called Pressure. I think the big ones this year are all going to be biopics, which is kind of odd. They're having sort of a renaissance. I think those are the big ones that I am looking forward to.
I'm going to tell you what I think is one of the things I want to see in movies from here on out. I want to go watch movies that don't look like what we've been watching for the last 20 years. I think that's what I want refreshing things that don't look like Marvel CGI. I want movies that don't give me a Marvel joke. I want movies that don't insert ideology, the modern message into, places that it just does not belong. I want movies that are artistic in ways that I haven't seen before. And I think I want movies that are authentic, like where I can really believe the characters and the characters are flawed. And I'll say the other thing that I see as cohesive with the movies that I've enjoyed this year, and I hope that maybe someplace like Paramount is gonna do this and force Disney back to the middle a little bit. I want movies that feature beauty and humanity that's worth fighting for. That's the difference in the Odyssey and Project Hail Mary to me. In the Odyssey, I don't have a world that's beautiful. I never watch him have a great time with his wife before he leaves. I never see him hold his kid. I never see in the end him having a father-son embrace. I never see the beautiful things that make life worth living. But by golly, in Project Hail Mary, I see that in abundance. And it reminds me what the heck we're watching the movie for. And that's what I want to see in films. That's I think, where I hope that entertainment goes over the next couple of years. I think the path is clear for Hollywood if they're going to do that. I think we're telling them, we've seen some good movies, we're going to see some more good movies. The question is, are you going to make us more of those movies so that we can celebrate you in some way? All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've got our story here from Geeks and Gamers, and it's the story of a loser. Soy un perdedor. Oh, he's a loser, baby. Marvin Montanaro writing this one. Marvin, you're no loser, but Kevin Feige says he is. And I'm here to tell you, folks, it's all fake. It's fake. Kevin Feige says he feels like a gigantic loser. Un perdedor gigante. Over Marvel's Blade failure. Well, here's an idea, Kevin. Just make a movie about a guy killing, whatever, vampires. All right, go at it. Have at it.
Oh, he addresses that.
It's not this hard. It's really not this hard. Wesley Snipes is ready to sign the contract. He's ready to get the check. Kevin Feige has called himself a loser and failure over Marvel's inability to bring Blade back to the big screen. Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige has built a reputation over the last 2 decades as the steady hand guiding the Marvel Cinematic Universe through unprecedented success. But after years of delays, rewrites, director changes, and mounting fan frustration surrounding Marvel's planned Blade reboot, Feige is now publicly acknowledging what many fans concluded long ago. Speaking on the Happy Sad Confusified podcast, Feige admitted the studio's inability to launch Mahershala Ali's version of Blade remains one of the biggest professional disappointments. Quote, I am feeling like a gigantic loser and failure that we didn't get off the ground with that. Here we go.
How much time in therapy have you spent talking about Blade? This poor project. We just need to get this done, Kevin. How are you doing?
Therapy. Should we get into a therapy session?
Yeah, lie down. I mean, we all want it. Mahershala wants it. How are you feeling at this moment?
I'm feeling very excited that we got Wesley back for a time in Deadpool and Wolverine. And like a gigantic loser and failure that we didn't get off the ground with Mahershala.
All right, here's the deal. Marv, this is virtue signaling.
Oh, yeah.
This is Kevin Feige. He would never, ever, 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 ever say this. It's false humility. He doesn't believe this for a second. But because it involves the type of people it involves making this movie, Kevin Feige is going to play the game of saying, I'm such a loser. I just couldn't help them get the movie made. They're so much better. I don't mind him hating that he didn't get the movie out. I don't mind him thinking like this was a loss, but Kevin Feige does not view himself as a loser. And so it comes across as completely inauthentic when he says it. And I don't believe anything about this. What say you?
It's the first thing he's ever said that I agree with. He is doing this so that all the Marvel fans can be like, you're not a loser, Kev. You're the guy who created the Marvel Cinematic Universe. You're the reason it's a success. Like, well, no, he's not. It was Jon Favreau, Joss Whedon, and the Russos that made the Marvel Universe what it was. And the second that they were all gone, Kevin Feige was exposed as the emperor with no clothes.
Wait a minute, let's add some more. Did you say Ike Perlmutter?
Oh, well, yeah, Ike Perlmutter having his hand on the wheel.
And Jon Favreau started the whole thing, and then Kevin Feige took it over and claimed credit.
Yep.
Without Favreau doing what he did, there's no MCU. And yet Kevin Feige,
Exactly. The Russo brothers, Joss Whedon, they all had a hand in what this became. Kevin Feige has driven this boat into the iceberg, and he's going down with it. He's throwing people overboard as it's going down in hopes to try to save himself, but it's not working. We saw Victoria Alonso was sacrificed for his failures, even though she also had to go.
If he's not careful, he's heading for Kathleen Kennedy status, because what we're finding out is without all these other people, he's not capable.
And I think that I think Josh probably sees that far more than Bob ever could.
Yeah,
because I think Josh is a much different kind of manager than Bob was.
Right. Here's another crazy quote from him. Crazy quote from Geeks and Gamers again. Quote, we didn't want to simply just put a leather outfit on him, talking about Blade, and have him start killing vampires.
Why?
I'm sorry. I thought that was the whole thing.
That's the point.
Right.
So for what we heard about this movie was the reason why it kept getting thrown out was Mahershala Ali was like, if you want me to play Blade, I'm going to be Blade and I will be the main character of this movie. And what they wanted to market a Blade movie and present a movie that bait and switches you into being a movie about Blade's daughter. The quote we kept hearing was Blade was the fourth lead in his own film.
Carol, I have a theory for what's really going on with this and why we're getting these kinds of quotes from Kevin Feige. My theory, Caro, is that Kevin Feige, and we heard this from Bob Iger, that one of the most proud achievements that they had was Black Panther. And now that they don't have the cast to carry the Wakanda series and Black Panther, I think they feel a strong need to find some other, franchise that can carry that cause that they have. And I think they viewed Blade as an opportunity to do so, and it just got too crazy. And for some reason, they're not willing to just say, hey, Wesley, will you do this for us? Like, that's the thing. They're trying to make this, if they get the chance to make this movie, they want it to be a social statement rather than what everybody else wants, which is, it's just a guy killing vampires, gratuitously killing vampires. They want a social cause film instead. Your thought?
I know that actor in particular is, the word's not fussy, but he has a lot of character integrity when it comes to portraying that character. And so he's not shy about pushing back at all. And so probably part of the reason it's not going through like how they want is because they're trying to pitch it and he's like, nah. And I don't know what that agreement looks like for them, but I mean, you can't have Blade without Blade in it. That's kind of weird, right?
Right.
So that's probably, and I mean, good on him for that, because I've been hearing from my neck of the woods, I've been hearing a lot of studios trying to get actors who portrayed characters for a long time to like try and twist those characters. And the actors are like, I've been playing this character for 20 years. That's not what this character would do. It's like, will you just do it? And they're like, no, I won't.
Right. They're not going to be Luke Skywalker again.
Yeah. And so they're running into that. And I know, like, I mean, like I said, 20 years, some of these actors don't have to worry about money, but like when you have like the younger, newer actors who are just trying to get their name out, like they're a bit more easy to like maneuver. So it's, I really wish they would just give us what we want, which is Blade killing vampires. But I think they're not capable of that.
Play around with that for a minute, Marvin. I don't think I've told you that theory before, but the idea that they lost Chadwick Boseman. Chadwick Boseman is a tremendous talent. Chadwick Boseman was the reason that Black Panther was so successful. They tried to continue that on, and it doesn't look like that's possible without him. And maybe Blade they saw as, we can do this again, and they're not willing to just give fans what they want. They want it to be something bigger because it's a replacement for something that is intangibly
There's no
tremendous.
overlap. There's no overlap in those two movies.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those two characters have zero in common with each other.
Right.
Also, but with Black Panther, I think everything would have been fine if they had just recast T'Challa.
They should have.
They didn't do that. They saw an opportunity to make Black Panther a 90-pound girl, and they jumped at it. With Blade, I think they do want to make it a social thing because he's a black superhero. But I don't think Blade being black was ever mentioned once in 3 Wesley Snipes movies.
Right. Well, we
he was
say
the
that
first. He was the first Marvel superhero movie.
And in some ways, we have been better in the 80s and 90s when it comes to race relations. And it seems like, we've reverted in some ways. Lauren, nobody in the world believes that Kevin Feige wakes up in the morning, looks at himself in the mirror and says, I'm a loser. That is not part of the ego of any studio head in Hollywood. So Lauren, why do they put it on so thick? I think it's a virtue signal. I think and Marvin says it's to gain empathy. What say you? What's the point of it?
I'm actually going to push back to make your point. Maybe he does wake up in the morning and say, I'm a loser. And so he has to project that he is the architect of all of this that has gone before. And the head of this successful MCU. And Blade has laid all of that bare.
Oh, my.
What say you?
You're giving me the Chris Farley explanation. They say that Chris Farley, would call people in the dead of night and say, Am I really funny? Am I popular? Am I just the fat guy that people laugh at? And people would have to talk to Chris Farley and say, no, you're really funny. Like you have multi-million-dollar #1 comedies, Chris. You're really funny. He'd be like, no, I'm not really funny. I'm just a fat guy people make fun of. And you're telling me that this is Kevin Feige, that he has this insecurity maybe. And so that's him projecting. It wasn't like Perlmutter. It wasn't Jon Favreau. It wasn't any of these people. It was me, darn it. It was me, Kevin Feige.
Well, insecurity tends to lead to ambition to disprove your own insecurity. It gives you something to shoot for. And if you come to believe that maybe I can do this without Ike Perlmutter, maybe I can guide this without Jon Favreau. And at first, it looks good because everybody's praising you. But then as you have a successive 2 phases of movies that frankly are nowhere on par with the first 3, it would be hard to look at yourself in the mirror and say, maybe I'm kind of a loser. Maybe I'm not good at this.
Ouch. All right, folks, it's the house that Kevin Feige built. It's clear of everybody else who could be in charge. There's nobody blamed. There's no scapegoats left. And now he's bereft of Blade. Poor Kevin Feige says he's a loser. Tell us what you think. Is Lauren right? Am I right? Is Marv right? Caro took the point of just saying, hey, these are not the same characters. Don't try that anyway. Folks, tell us what you think about it. We'd love to hear from you. And ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the final round of Super Chats as well as the Q&As. Folks, if you have not done so yet, the Super Chat goal was reachified today. All you got to do is type Q&A in the chat. Then put your question in. We'll take the first 10. We've got a few in already. But get your Q&As in for the panel. And here we go. Alberta Not a Retro for 5. The bulk of the River of Truth speech is from Mark Twain's Glances at History. I had to look that one up. The Twain guy. He wrote some stuff.
Yeah, he wrote some good stuff.
Man, they don't want you to read some of that stuff either anymore.
None of it.
Not allowed. Just Jay for 5. Jonas, speaking of advantage in games, one of the Neuralink patients already reported seeing that effect in Call of Duty. Well, Jonas is not here, but I know he is aware of that, and so am I. The brain-to-computer interface means that you don't have to wait for those fingers to work, and that means you can really get the aim going, I would say. We've got Seabrew for 2. The Carol and Sevi show was fun. RIP Pro versus NBS. Who is NBS?
Yes.
Who have I failed to win against? NBS.
From the Caro and Sevi show, I didn't watch.
NBS.
We were just shopping. It's fine.
Oh.
Dogepal for 2. Toy Story 5 shows mid-budget films have more to do. The cost of making a Toy Story, if you've seen The Adventures of Mary Sue, the cost of making a Toy Story is about to drop off a cliff. Get ready. Says Detail Devil for $1.99. Power of the Niners. Dislike Rogan, but Bud wanted Odyssey, so invite 8.0. Dislike Rogan. Well, Rogan doesn't like Sly Stone. So get ready. We'll see what he copes with when this movie does well. Albert Not a Retro for 5. Just did a search. Ruffalo charges between $180 and $350 for an autograph, depending on what he's signing. Pretty capitalist for a pinko. And all the celebs say he's pretty fly for a capitalist guy.
Pro, before you continue,
please.
Are we doing another 10 Q&A? Because you said Q&A in the chat, and now everybody's flooding them again.
No, 10 total. Are we already up on the 10?
Yeah, we've already got them. We're good.
add 2 more, Lauren. We'll go 12.
Okay.
Here we go. Astrobot for 5. Guess what? 4K edition if Troy is coming in August. New cover art, 3 discs, 5.1 surround sound. Oh, cool. That's a good idea to use the opportunity.
Idea.
Yeah, great idea.
There's also an AI film of the Odyssey coming out. So we have an article about it on that Park Place. But NBS means New Black Street, by the way. Mo Zamboni said in there. Yes, when we did New Black Street versus Old White Street. And
yeah, I'm with you. Okay, so when they beat me in Culture Casino, Culture had a great plan. He had never played Smash Brothers before in the tournament. I told him to hold down and press the special button as Pikachu, and we would be okay. They outsmarted us. They saw the strategy, and they switched to Fox McCloud, and they just pew-pewed poor Culture right off the stage. Yeah. Never even had to go close to him. I didn't consider that they would use the strategy of range. Dogepal for 2, Animal Farm, The Bride, Leviticus, bad, low budgets. Animal Farm was a very bad movie. Dogepal for 2, also Mixtape has blurred the definition of AAA, AA, indie. I think you're going to see more of that blurring on the way with lots of deflated budgets out there. Albert Nutter Retro for 5. Blade could have a social message since vampires tended to come across like Victorian elitists. Interesting. Yeah, I could have one. Good. Excess, perhaps. Albert Nutter Retro again for 10. If they weren't going to recast T'Challa, then they should have just woke up Killmonger from cryogenic freezer to secretly be Black. Shuri reigns as queen.
That was what I was hoping for, was that it was going to be Killmonger. But it wasn't. They saw,
and she could have been.
When they realized that they could make a 90-pound girl Black Panther, they never even looked for another way.
Nope, that was it. All right, Q&A session, folks, because you helped us hit the Super Chat goal. Let's get them up on the screen and see what you want to know. Smiths and Sons says, what is your favorite video/computer game? Carol, we start with you. What's your favorite game?
Anything Zelda.
Marv?
Final Fantasy VII.
Lorne?
I go round and round on this a lot, but I think the answer I have to give is X-Wing, because when it comes to the classic games, that's the one that I play the most.
Yeah, this is super, super, super hard for me. Man, I love a bunch of games, but if you forced me to give my favorite, I don't like doing it because there's so many genres, and I have favorites in genres. But if you forced me, I would pick Warcraft 3 with its expansion. Yeah, that's what I'm going with for my favorite. Wolf, Crime Dog McGruffle out there says, should I get a Switch 2 now? And will Fake Wizard still allow me to hang out here? You can hang out here. I can't wait to get your card up on the stage. It was supposed to go up today. I told Lauren to remind me, but we'll get it up there soon. And should you get a Switch 2? I would.
I have a Switch 2, and Wizard still lets me hang out. So
yeah, I'd get a Switch 2. Do it before the prices go up. Ron says, did you all enjoy Southeast Game Exchange? There's a chance for you all to tell a story. Give us a story from Southeast Game Exchange that you haven't told the crowd yet.
Had a terrible time. Hated the entire experience.
Awful, he says. The air conditioner broke on Saturday, and the entire convention was
yes, that was
same temperature inside as outside, and it was really, really unbelievably hot.
I had a great time talking to people, although a few times because we were trying to get people to come play the indie games, I'd be like, hey, do you guys want to play games? And they're like, I don't play games. I'm like, why are you here?
I just collect them.
We made Carol. I made Carolyn cry and felt really good about it.
Okay, you have to say why.
Okay, yes. Pro Jonas and I bought Carolyn a giant Pikachu that she had been obsessing over at the con.
It's nearly as tall as she is.
And when she got it, she cried in happiness. So that's what I just thought it was funnier to say I made Carolyn cry and feel really good about it.
We have a picture. She put this on her stream. It just replaced her.
Oh, that's her. Look, it looks just like her.
Well done, Marv. That was a really nice gift, and I was so happy you found it. Said, "Hey guys, can we do this?"
It was almost as tall as Carolyn, and it was actually taller than Kata. So
yeah, and then I like how Henry Cavill is still in the background.
Let's see here. We've got Just Jay out there. It says, "What do you think is the short-term outcome of Doomsday? How Hollywood will react, change, etc." It's going to depend on the quality of Dune 3. If Dune 3 is a grand slam, Disney's in deep trouble. And everything, they'll blame it on Dune 3. At that point, they'll say, well, we had a hard sell here. We had to go up against film that had IMAX, blah, 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 blah. Has no impact on the rest of Marvel. Don't be fooled. It's still popular, blah, blah, blah. But investors will take notice if Star Wars fails. and Doomsday fails. But Dune 3 has to be great for that to happen. If Dune 3 is mediocre, people are going to look for a movie to see over the holidays. Bottom line. Jagan. Will Tom be able to come back on the show again? Because him meeting Robert Lamb would have been wonderful for him. Well, actually, we sent Tom a special video behind the scenes from Robert Lamb. And yeah, absolutely. Tom is a friend of the channel. We love Tom. So absolutely. There are things that happen behind the scenes, folks. We take care of our friends. We care about them. Doug Wilkerson, what can Walt Disney World Magic Kingdom do to get some of Walt's dreams back in the park?
Fire everyone involved in upper management and replace them with people who care.
But there's a simpler solution. Put Walt's dreams back in the park.
And we tried lowering ticket prices.
I say get rid of paper straws.
Ugh.
See, Soloy says, have you checked out Netflix's new reboot of Ghost in the Shell? They took out the dangers of AI as a theme, literally the ghost part, and have made politics, socialism versus capitalism, the theme.
Oh, good.
I watched the first one. That wasn't there. But I'll watch the second one. I actually thought it was a nice callback to the original manga that came out, but I will take a look at that and see if I find that messaging in there for you.
All right, looking forward to it. O2RR, what was your favorite part of Southeast Game Exchange?
I loved the Marv Mobile posse, which was me, Caro's husband, and Kara. And the four of us had a phenomenal time.
Lauren, what was your favorite, Lauren?
I always love it. It's kind of like being on the chat here. I like interacting with people in the chat. I like meeting people who are aware of us and what we do, getting to meet people face to face. The downside to that is I have a really terrible memory for names. So if you came up to me and you talked to me, there's a high likelihood I might not remember your name or know who you are in the chat. But if I did meet you there, I was really thrilled to get to do so. And I'm glad that some of you got to go see us and chat with us for a while. That's always a lot of fun.
My favorite moment was being on the stage interviewing David Weiss, the composer for the Donkey Kong games. He was Rare's only composer for years and years and years. And, I like to know my stuff before I interview somebody. And I asked him, given the technical difficulties of designing music back in the 8-bit and 16-bit era, what are you most proud of that you got the most out of the hardware? And he said, Donkey Kong Country 2. And I pulled a trick on him and I looked at him and I said, oh, you mean from the era of your experimental Parisian period? And the look came on David Weiss's face where he had this look of like, what is happening here? Am I being like, is a camera crew about to come out? Like, how do you know this? And we kept going with the show, in the interview, but he gave me that look of how in the world do you know that? And that was a fun moment for me.
I would also say my other favorite moment was my panel with Caro. That was a lot of fun.
That's right.
Fun. That's my favorite moment. I'm going to steal that. Thank you.
Jagan is out there, but Jagan, you've already been on the screen with a Q&A. Lauren, what are you doing? You're doubling up old Jagan. I think, right?
I take the Q&As as they come in.
Oh, Lord, no.
You doubled up on Jagan. You put one in from Ron.
And we were having trouble getting to 10. It's like you do what you got to do to fill the queue that has been requested.
The question is, how can Hollywood get kids to watch cartoons again? Make stuff like Bluey. Just make stuff like Bluey.
Yeah.
Lincoln Pro, do you think the Disney layoffs are the activists being fired? No, I do not.
No.
I do not. Listen, Josh Dawes is a phenomenal genius. They fired him in the last round. I wish this was a purge of the activists. I think in other studios it is, but not at Disney.
They're firing the people that are expensive to keep. That's happening.
Right. Dogepal says, know that Disney TVA had a lot of layoffs a few months ago. ESPN and Pixar aren't the only ones taking a hit. Yep, you're exactly right. What was the one that took the biggest hit last time, Marv? Was that Lucasfilm? Lucasfilm took a huge hit last time.
Yes, it did.
Let's see. We've got Garen Night Shadow says, what are each of your favorite fantasy book characters? This is a great one to end on. Marv, you want to go first or Caro? Caro, you might have it front of mind quicker than we do. I don't know. Who wants to go first on this? Favorite fantasy book characters?
I'll be quick. I'm going to go with urban fantasy, which is going to be the Harry Dresden Files. I really like Harry Dresden. So he's like my favorite character because he's kind of like the wizard version, but he gets back up. So
I get knocked down,
again.
but I get up again.
So-
Never gonna keep me down.
So I won't give like a Lord of the Rings answer or something like that, because people will probably just think that's too cliche. If I'm going to go like a random fantasy book that I love, there is the John Oakler series by B.T. Narrow, and I love the main character, John Oakler. He's just one of my favorite magical characters in fantasy.
Awesome. Lauren, who's your favorite fantasy character?
Well, I'm jealous that Caro actually beat me on the Harry Dresden answer because I wasn't thinking of it until she mentioned that. I was thinking more traditional fantasy, but she's absolutely right about that one. I'm going to ask a technical question. Can a pirate novel count as a fantasy novel? Because it's not really fantasy in this case, but it is fictional pirates, not real pirates.
I think if we stop you, you're going to be disappointed. So,
Well, I can do this either way. I can do... okay, so let me do it this way.
spin us a yarn.
Long John Silver from Treasure Island. Treasure Island's my favorite book. But if it has to be a fantasy pirate novel, then I would suggest On Stranger Tides. And in there, you have a fantasy version of Blackbeard, who is a sorcerer. And then, finally, if we're going traditional fantasy, I'd say from the Dragonlance novels, Tanis Half-Elven.
Yes. Oh, Lauren, good pull.
All right, I'm going to slightly cheat here, and I'm going to say my favorite fantasy book character, is Deckard Cain, because there are books written about the Diablo universe, and I'm going to say that one because I love the idea that there's a freaking portal to hell that has opened up underneath this town. Satan himself has entered. Diablo has entered into the world. Everyone is dead or dying, and by golly, you bring that guy a weapon and want to know about it, and he will charge you. There's nothing to buy anymore. There's destitution has arrived. We're the precipice of forever eternal hell. You bring him a sword and he's like, well, I would love to tell you about this sword, but first I'll need 50 gold. You can't spend it on anything.
He is a Herodrum after my own heart.
Yes, let me tell you about the Herodric Cube. No one understands it just like Diablo. Ladies and gentlemen, we got to go. We got to get out of here. But we ask that you please subscribe to our friends. It means the world to us. Get over there to the M4 Empire. Marv is going to be doing some fun stuff. We've got...
new video just dropped.
We got That Game Plays tonight. Streaming that at 10:15 p.m. with Will Tone. Lauren, is there a Lauren and Apollo tonight?
There is not.
Okay, so That Game Plays will be covering Lauren and Apollo tonight. That Game Plays tonight, playing Fortnite with Wilton. Caro is also where you need to go. And look at that, the website's back up, carobrown.com, for all of your literary needs.
She didn't run away this time.
She didn't run away. Marv, what's your next stream you got coming up?
Tomorrow morning, 10 a.m., M4cast AM.
There you go. Folks, be there, be there, be there. And until the next time, folks, we can't wait to see you again. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being the gigawatts of all gigawatts. Thank you for everything you do. And to everybody we got to meet at Southeast Game Exchange, we say a huge thank you. It was an honor. It was pleasure. It was a privilege. More content on the way. Get ready, get set. And here we go.
The mainstream media just can't understand how it is we continue to do what we do. They don't realize that we are powered by you, and you are...
1.21 gigawatts! 1.21 gigawatts!
Folks, we've still got decades and decades left in the can. It drives the mainstream mad.
Would it make you feel any better if you knew that what we're asking Matt here to do is a holy thing?
You see, we're on a mission from God. We're on a mission from God.
Now you're gonna put me right back in the joint.
They're not gonna catch us. We're on a mission from God.
So folks, as we always say as we end each and every show here, and we mean it, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.
Every time they hit him, he stood back up again. So they hit him harder. Still, he got back to his feet. understanding man.